agree the government shouldn't be telling people what to do, not the government.
Harris distancing herself from comments made by President Biden that can be taken to say that Trump supporters are garbage, or that the White House says was talking about the comedian at Trump's New York rally who called Puerto Rico an island of garbage. Either way. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin today saying North Korean troops have been outfitted with Russian uniforms and equipment. There's a good likelihood that those troops will be involved in the war in Ukraine. World Series Game 5 tonight in the Bronx. The Dodgers up 3 games. Every game now is do or die for the New York Yankees. This is ABC News. The U.S. is calling a deadly IDF airstrike in northern Gaza a, quote, horrible incident.
The Israeli army providing few details on a deadly airstrike Tuesday that brought a 5-story residential building in northern Gaza crashing down, a strike that killed over 60, including children. The IDF telling ABC News it targeted a terrorist on the rooftop. But unlike other mass casualty attacks, the IDF failing to brief the press or release a statement. That's left the impression the IDF made a deadly operational mistake. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
2 New York Yankees fans who were ejected from Game 4 of the World Series for interfering with Los Angeles Dodgers right fielder Mookie Betts have been banned from tonight's Game 5. Olympic gold medalist Shaun White and actress Nina Dobrev are engaged. The pair confirming the news on social media with a photo of White popping the question. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Bills piling up? Rent due? Just need some extra cash to get by? Then you need to go to 89cash.com, where you can get approved for a loan of up to $10,000 in minutes. No need to search through endless loan sites. 89cash.com is one of the largest lender networks. They can help anyone get up to $10,000 regardless of their credit score. Best part? The money can be in your bank account as soon as the next day. When you need fast cash help, go to 89cash.com. That's 89cash.com.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Welcome to the Common Sense Conservatives, a political discussion group about current events and other government-related matters every Wednesday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. Right here on WSMN 1590 AM, WSMN 95.3 FM, and streaming live on wsmn.live. Making sense of the inverted reality we are subject to every day. The Common Sense Conservatives are here to help bring you back to reality. Now, your hosts, Chris Wyatt, Todd McKinley, and John Gorman.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the Common Sense Conservatives. It's countdown to Election Day. We are less than 1 week off from a momentous election across the United States, these fruited plains. Folks, it's Decision 2024. Over 50 million Americans reportedly having already cast their ballots, either by the corrupt mail-in balloting system or by appearing in person in the ludicrous concept of early voting. But it's underway. Joined tonight by my co-host in Nashua, New Hampshire. How you doing there, John?
I am doing well, Chris. Things are normal here in Nashua, New Hampshire. A little disappointed. I think that actual what was once Republicans, Humphrey, former U.S. Senator from 79 to 90, and John, what's his name? Ray Rath, a former AG, both endorsed Kamala Harris. I mean, what kind of Republicans do that kind of nonsense?
Well, rhinos, that's what we call them.
That's what they are, rhinos, pretend Republicans. But other than that, I mean, huge disappointment to see that. I thought it was idiotic on their part, and I don't, for some reason, I just have a hard time understanding why people can't see the vision that Trump is holding for this country, and the fact that, if you think about it, man, we're like in modern day times of what it was in the Kennedy era with Trump. I mean, he's trying to pull this country back together, and he brings his whole family involved in this whole thing. You know what I mean? Almost like the Kennedys in a sort of way. But yeah, all things are good here. Chris. I'll just send it right back
Call
to
me
you.
Trump. There's a little faux pas. I like that.
I tell you what, there's you wearing the hat. I'm telling you.
Well, listen, John, the thing is that whether you like Trump or not, it really isn't germane to the issue. You're going to vote for a box of rocks? I mean, come on. This is the biggest blathering idiot in the history of, I thought Joe Biden was senile at least. She has no excuse. She's just stupid beyond belief.
And then you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger on the other hand, on the whole country
we'll
here.
Get into the Terminators.
Let me just remind people he's from Austria. I mean, there's somebody else was from Austria too that wasn't so delightful.
Oh, are you calling him a Nazi?
Hey, folks, I just hinted around it. You also make your own assumptions.
All right, tonight we're going to talk about a lot of different things, including election fraud in Pennsylvania, in Washington, ballot boxes destroyed, and also election irresponsibility in Colorado. The entire sanctity of this election is in question now because of the actions of election officials and the stupidity of the mail-in balloting system. Well, we'll get to that in a moment, but also joined by our co-host in East Tennessee. That's the volunteer state, none other than Todd McKinley. Todd, what's the word?
Oh, well, just getting ready to go vote tomorrow at my early voting. I know you don't like it, but it's last day early vote here in Tennessee. Polls will close at 5 p.m., whether you're in the East or whether you're in Central. Tennessee has 2 time zones there. So 5 p.m., of course, check your local polling place. It may be open a little bit later. I don't know. Don't want to speak for anybody else, but I'll be casting my vote tomorrow. I think it's safe to say who I'm going to be voting for, and it'll be to help make history by making Donald Trump the second non-consecutive president to become president. So there we go.
Well, listen, guys, I'm embracing my inner Oscar the Grouch here next to my trash can. Apparently we're all garbage there, John. Do you feel like garbage? Does it smell bad there?
No, I don't feel like garbage at all. But trash talks trash. What can I tell you? But I do have to say, just real quick, not to deviate too far, but Todd, you're looking like you could be part of the Bearded Patriots.
Oh, you like that,
You're getting there, bud. You're getting there. Oh,
well, yeah, I'll let it grow out every now and then, but I'll shave it off, whenever I have like a meeting where I need to just look my best, I guess.
Nah, keep it. It's better, man. Be a bearded patriot. No, but what do you think, Todd? You think you feel like garbage?
No, you know what? No, I certainly don't. But sometimes, I wake up in the morning and I got to go brush my teeth and I have that taste in my mouth. But after I get up and brush my teeth, I feel pretty good for the rest of the day and feel good about supporting Donald Trump against Kamala Harris, who last night gave her last little pitch and then says, we need to stop talking about name calling and all this. We need to talk about issues. And then immediately started name calling yet again, right? As soon as she says that.
That's all she got. Listen, I don't feel like garbage, but sometimes I feel like a nut and sometimes I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Almond Joy's got nuts, Mounds don't.
That's right.
Anyway, boy, funny how those commercials from the 70s stick in your head forever into perpetuity. But listen, this is just interesting because, boy, the press went into a full-on assault when some comic whom I'd never heard of and I found not even remotely entertaining or funny spoke at the beginning of the Trump rally at Madison Square Garden and made some, rather, I don't know, they need to get a sense of humor. Leftists have no sense of humor. They've killed comedy. As long as they're insulting Republicans, they think it's funny. But when the insults go the other way. But this guy, Kill Tony, what a crazy name that is. What is he, from Sopranos? Anyway, Kill Tony, this guy went on there and made some comments about Puerto Rico. And I didn't really get the connection because he's talking about a big floating pile of trash at sea, which is the Pacific trash bin. That's what that means. Right. Those who know anything about ecology know about that. I guess a lot of people don't. So, and he said it's Puerto Rico. I didn't even get, if you want to say Samoa or something like that, it would have made more sense. But Puerto Rico's on the other side of the world. Anyway, so the press went into full court press, no pun intended. They, whoa, Trump's racist, misogynist. Oh, look at this. Oh, they insulted Puerto Ricans. Oh, the race is over. Yeah. Well, that was a comedian that most of us never heard of, but the president of the United States, not candidate Obama, not candidate Clinton, but President Joe Biden called half of America trash, garbage, and they can walk it back all they want. I noticed they busted the lid last night and woke the senile old bastard up to get him to come out and refute what he said. It was well past his bedtime when he did that. There's no way that tweet came from him. I don't know if they hired Trump's former Twitter account manager or whatever, but they certainly got somebody to tweet this thing. That's not what I meant, trying to walk it back. But that is what he meant. There's no stuttering. There's no mumbling. Joe Scarborough and, Misha Brzezinski can lie all they want. These people are total frauds. Joe Biden said what he really felt. He said what he said, and he meant what he said. That's what happened.
Absolutely.
And that's what he thinks of Americans. Look, this isn't unprecedented. I don't know why people have to wait so long, whether you're black or gay or trans or Hispanic or Asian or white. How are you confused about the Democrats? Barry Obama. these people in Pennsylvania cling God and their guns. What's wrong with them? Remember that? And then, of course, the basket of deplorables. And then, of course, the irredeemables. And the scumbag still calls Americans that. And these are senior members of political party who are campaigning for Kamala Harris. And now her boss, who wasn't allowed to come to her rally, had to watch it from the White House West Wing. Hey, is Kamala out there?
Yeah.
Can you see her?
but did you see the New York Times was trying to walk it back for him to say, well, it depends on where the comma was. There was supposedly a comma in the remarks, so he wasn't technically.
The only way there'd be a comma in that sentence is if Joe Biden plagiarized the sentence.
Yeah, right.
Well, we know he does that. He got kicked out of the college class for that back in the day, and then he plagiarized Neil Kinnock's labor speech word for word and claimed I just came to him. Yeah, right. Sure it did, Joe. Anyway, but now look, plagiarism runs in the Democratic family. We see Kamala Harris plagiarizing Donald Trump's entire campaign. Ooh, no taxes on tips. Where did that come from? Ooh, And meanwhile, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting inundated with lie after lie after lie after lie. Mailers coming in the mail, flyers, commercials on television. Donald Trump will end Social Security. Donald Trump wants to end taxation on Social Security benefits. That actually helps seniors. So what are you talking about? So they just endlessly lying.
Quick reminder, folks out there listening here in New Hampshire, that's the lie they told on Bulldog time after time. I mean, it was a repetitive lie on television, tailored towards the elderly to scare the crap out of them to get people to vote for Maggie Hassan. Same exact lie. This is just a political left tactic on every candidate they're opposed to.
Well, look, and the Republicans are losers. They're whiny babies who don't stand up like real men. Put your big boy pants on and tell people the truth. For instance, abortion. There you go. All right. We've got hysterical number of women and soy boys around the country. It's about a woman's choice. Trump is going to ban abortion. Excuse me. Donald Trump has no authority to ban abortion. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. What's he going to do? Issue an executive order? Doesn't apply to the country. Only applies to the executive branch. Right. It will immediately be attacked in the Ninth Circuit Court and struck down. Next. Oh, well, he'll sign a law from Congress, unconstitutional. The Dobbs decision has made it clear that the federal government has no authority to regulate abortion. We knew that from the 10th Amendment, but apparently it took Democrats 50 years to figure it out. So the abomination of Roe versus Wade was overturned, and the Dobbs decision has corrected the course with the Constitution. So a Republican Senate and a Republican House can sign whatever they want and send it to the president. And if he signs it into law, it will immediately be challenged in the Supreme Court and be struck down as unconstitutional. I mean, it took me 5 months to get a darn appointment for nerve damage through the government medical system from the military. Do they really think that our government has the ability to monitor women's reproductive rights? Give me a freaking break. You people are included. Republicans need to stand up and tell the truth and be men and put their big boy pants on, and be women and put their big girl pants on, because they don't do it. They allow this crap to get away over and over again. Where are the Trump minions telling people that Donald Trump isn't cutting Social Security? He's the guy trying to increase benefits by ending the immoral taxation of your retirement benefits on Social Security, which have been in place since 1986. That's what they should be saying. That's not even a 30-second commercial. Yeah, it's a 15-second made for the internet commercial, but they don't do it. They don't do it because they're obsessed with, both sides are obsessed with calling each other names. You don't have to call her names. Just what's her platform? What's her policy? She has nothing except calling Donald Trump names. And these people who are obsessed and controlled by their emotions really have no impulse control. Abortion is not an issue in this election. It's only an issue because Democrats are leading the suckers to the slaughter. Right. So Kamala Harris cannot protect abortion. She can't sign an executive order saying it's legal. She can't sign a law saying it's legal. The only control the federal government has over abortion is on federal installations and federal institutions, the military, Veterans Administration hospitals, and things like that.
Technically, if Congress got it together and decided to pass a bill, the president could sign the bill into law. Then it would be a legalized right. Same way.
No, it would not. It would be unconstitutional. It would be challenged in the Supreme Court, and it would be struck down very quickly.
How do you figure?
Because it violates the 10th Amendment. That's the whole. See, this is where people don't pay attention to what happens. The Dobbs decision rightly restored the Constitution to its correct place in our society. Roe versus Wade violated the Constitution. The 10th Amendment expressly prohibits the federal government from powers not expressly contained in the Constitution or those prohibited to the states.
And the Supremacy Clause says the Constitution, statutory law, and treaty shall be the supreme law of the land. So if they pass the statute, then they would be following the Constitution, right?
It will be overturned because they don't have the authority. It's simple. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
It's not going to happen because Congress is too divided on the issue. It's a hot
It's
issue.
illegal.
They're divided, and there's no way they're going to get enough members of Congress to have a vote to pass a law like that, even if it wasn't illegal.
Exactly. So it's not an election issue. This is nonsense and people fall for it. I mean, I listened to some of these dunderheads that were at the dark Kamala rally last night. Oh my goodness. This is a replay of Philadelphia a couple years ago when Brandon got out there and tried to scare the bejesus out of seniors. They go to, remember that dark Brandon?
Oh yeah.
So this was dark Kamala last night. And I listen to these dunderheads talking to reporters. Well, I like this, I like that. I mean, you didn't mention one policy for Kamala. You're voting for it. And the other one, well, Trump's going to take. Oh, shut up! You people are so stupid. There ought to be a literacy test.
Right.
Ooh, that sounds racist.
and remember all the things that they said in 2015, 2016, in the lead up to President Trump becoming president. They're saying it all over again, but they're saying, but this time he has nothing to lose because he's term limited, so he'll never leave office this time. It's this time.
Yeah, it's utter nonsense. He's a warmonger. He ended wars all over the planet. He negotiated the historic Abraham Accords, which the Biden administration flushed down the toilet. Now we have nothing but conflict in the Middle East. We have conflict everywhere, people dying. This is unbelievable.
It's amazing. The ones mongering for war, the ones claiming Trump's going to be the warmonger.
Of course.
Talk about cognitive dissonance.
It's usually the racist who call you a racist because they're deflecting their own shortcomings upon you.
Right.
If I accuse you, you'll never suspect me, sort of thing.
Sure. But think about this. North Korea, they stopped shooting missiles off over the Sea of Japan and all this stuff. He took a step back. But now what's he doing? He's sending troops into the Russian Ukraine. Sorry, the Ukraine. I was about to say Kansas for some reason. It reminds me.
Kansas works for me.
Grain. They grow grain.
Yeah, like 10,000 troops into the Ukraine right now. That wasn't going on. Also,
and they've restarted firing ballistic missiles over the Sea of Japan.
Right, and there was no troops. There was no Russian troops that were massed on the border of Ukraine whenever Trump was in office. In fact, Putin and other world leaders said, "Hey, this is the guy we probably don't want to mess with. Let's wait him out." And that's what Putin did. Basically, waited 4 years for him to be gone.
Exactly. Look, everything they said about Trump has been a lie. Oh, he's vulgar. Oh, he's a misogynist about grabbing women by the genitals. That's not what he said. That's not what the tape says. What he said in that tape is that women in Hollywood are so desperate for attention and for jobs that I could grab them by that area. They wouldn't say anything. That's how Weinstein happened. They wouldn't say anything just to get the job. And it's a factual statement. We don't have the casting couch in Hollywood. It continues to this day for men and women.
Right. I mean, you think about this. I mean, you think about the big Hollywood stars. The people who just a couple of years ago, maybe a couple of decades ago, were nobodies. Now, all of a sudden, these are the biggest, highest paid stars in the world. Somehow they're magically all on the left now. And it's one of those things that goes on behind the scenes. It's like if you sell yourself out, sell your soul out, play the game, espouse leftist BS, then next thing you know, your star is going to rise, even though you're probably a mediocre actor. I mean, it's just the way it goes out there.
Well, we'll see if, the reason why they're so desperate to keep Trump out of office is because if Trump goes back in, they won't be able to hide the the P. Diddy and the Weinstein list, which is still hidden. If Trump comes back in, they're going to get exposed most likely. There's a lot of people whose lives are at risk. Their legal jeopardy.
Yeah, all these Epstein files, the P. Diddy files now, and others that we can't ever see, we can never hear about. It gets squashed really quick. Somehow they kill themselves, and we never hear about it ever again. That needs to be exposed. Like you said, JFK files, everything needs to be exposed and laid out there. I mean, what does the left have to hide that they don't want this out there? What's the establishment have to hide that they don't want it out there?
Human trafficking is a thing, and half of them are involved, right?
Yeah, how many hundreds of thousands? And I saw this in an article earlier. Hundreds of thousands of young girls below the age of 18 that are completely missing in this country. Nobody has accountability for where they are. So to me, if you don't have accountability of where they are, they've been trafficked somewhere, and who knows what's going to happen to them and what's happening to them.
Well, and look, the real issues aren't being discussed. $2 trillion in deficit spending this year, putting upward pressure on inflation, reducing the available credit in the marketplace, limiting the amount of job expansion and creation as a consequence. And we still have an administration hell-bent on letting foreign goods come here while our manufacturers ship our jobs to Mexico, Canada, and overseas. We have a president coming in who wants to stop that. He wants to do, he's going to start a trade war. The trade war is already underway. We are losing it. Those who are actually erudite know the history go, wow, but Smoot-Hawley. Now, Smoot Hawley in 1930 is a completely different situation. If China imposes an 80% tariff on Cadillacs shipped into China, well, then we should impose an 80% tariff on Chinese cars shipped in here. It's as simple as that. And we have no discussion of any topics that really matter. It's all nonsense about how one person is evil and the other person's not, or the other person's evil and the other person's not. It's just ridiculous. We should be discussing real issues here, like Trump's no tax on tips, Trump's no taxes on Social Security benefits, his proposal to do many other things, some of which I don't necessarily agree with, but much of it actually bears listening to. But nothing's being done. And by the way, the deportation is necessary. Citizenship, residency in this country is not for everybody. You must earn it, either by birthright or by earning it coming here and becoming a naturalized citizen or a legitimate green card holder. No one's entitled to live in the United States. We earned our sovereignty. We fought for it. We earned the right to be the country we are, and giving our country away. I mean, I was in the grocery store tonight and I didn't even recognize 25% of the people in there. They're not from here. And by the way, before the racists start, you mean they're not white? No, because we have lots of people around here that aren't white. I'm talking about people that aren't from here, that don't belong here. Many of them criminal alien invaders, and some of them driving nicer cars than the rest of us have because we're doing it on our dime and burying us in debt because we are paying for people who are someone else's responsibility. But you see, the Dominican Republic is deporting 10,000 Haitians per day. 10,000 Haitians per day. But Springfield's got 19,000. It's a shame that Ohio doesn't border the Dominican Republic.
Right. And it's kind of funny. I'm going to go back to Kamala real quick about, she's lifted a lot of things about Trump. And whenever they talked about the border and all this stuff, she did everything she could do to say she doesn't support a border wall. I mean, she's circled that. Oh, we need to do this. We need to strengthen this. We need to do this. It's everything but say we need to put up a wall. She almost actually said it. She almost said it, but she had to stop short because that would have been a major snafu gaffe right there. But
Todd, it doesn't matter. There are tons of major snafu gaffes. How dare you say Christmas? How dare you celebrate Christmas? Excuse me?
And then she said Merry Christmas.
Country. Yeah, and then
she says Merry Christmas.
Right. It's a Judeo-Christian country. You're such a hypocrite and fraud. These people are just panders. For one audience to say one thing for another, they have no true beliefs in anything, which makes them dangerous. She's a sock puppet. She's nothing but a sock puppet. And I can't believe anybody would vote for a sock puppet.
But you're at the wrong rally. Remember?
Yeah. Jesus is Lord. You guys are at the wrong rally. Well, hey, let's not go to the Al Smith dinner, the first presidential candidate since Walter Mondale in 1984, and we saw how that went for Walter, 49 state, a slate wiper. But let's not go to the Al Smith dinner. Just ignore it. And on top of that, let's insult all the Catholics by having this pathetic, washed-up has-been Saturday Night Live actor come on and do the Mary Catherine skit, which insults Catholicism. Yeah, that went real well.
Right.
Yeah, and don't forget now, because when she was asked by CNN there, do you pray every day? Oh, yeah, sometimes twice. Right. I mean, does that not sound fake? She prays twice.
I think Kamala Harris may be turning to prayer right now because her chances to win this election are dimming by the minute. Yeah, every time she opens her mouth up. Look, I'll give her credit. Last night, the stage, the specs, whoever she got to do it was really good, glitzy. She got through her speech by reading her teleprompter without stumbling. It didn't go off this time. So that's impressive, but I don't want to better dressed, if I use the phrase, I'll be accused of racism, but I use it on myself all the time, so I won't use it. But the better dressed clown, let's just say that, okay? That's not what I usually say. Anyway, but so she's her own words, her own deeds knock her out. She's never accomplished anything in her life. I know. Being elected is not an accomplishment, folks. It's a popularity contest. That's all it is. And she has never accomplished anything.
Right. In order to get to the heights she's been at, in California or even the national level, you have people in party establishment elites who have done everything they can to pave the road for her to become AG, to become a U.S. senator from California. And of course, to basically be in the right spot to be picked as vice president based on everything but her record and her qualifications. It's all the things that don't make up, anything a good candidate. Race, gender, and all these other things that have nothing to do with you actually being a good candidate or being a good person whenever it comes to serving in public office.
And it's oftentimes what she doesn't say that's very, very revealing. For instance, she's very fond of saying now that she's not a career Washington politician. True, but she's a career politician. She's done nothing but be in government. The brief time she's out of government, she was a total abject failure.
Right.
So she's been the San Francisco DA for 8 years, the California Attorney General for 8 years, a senator for a few years, and then the vice president for 6 years. That's an entire adult lifetime. She is a career politician. She's just not a DC career politician. She's only been there for 8 years. But give me a break. This woman's such a total fraud. I mean, this is an embarrassment of the highest order. And you know, it's funny because all the stuff they say is exactly what they are. Tim Walz, you know, Elmer Fudd there. Those guys are just weird. No, Tim Walz is the weird guy. J.D. Vance is polished. He's on point. He can hold an argument about any topic at any time, off the cuff, caught off guard. Notice there have been no off guard moments. The only thing they've ever come after him is, he lied about eating cats and dogs by Haitians. No, actually, Haitians do eat cats and dogs. I mean, it's they got video of the stuff. Maybe not in Springfield, and maybe not all Haitians, but it's a true statement. And it's really not the point. The point was that Springfield has been swamped by illegal invasion, and then the Biden regime, and the pathetic rhino governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine. Let me correct the record. None of these people are illegal. Oh, yes, they are. Oh, yes, they are. Right. You didn't just go there. Yes, they are. Of course, they're illegal. You can't wave a magic wand after they invade the country and violate our sovereignty and break our laws, committing a felony, come into the country and go, oh, you get temporary protected status. Really? Wow. Okay. That's a do-over. No, they're criminals. They don't belong here. Now, some of them are legitimate. Almost none of them are. No, that's unfair to Springfield, Ohio, to flood them with 1/4 of their population being aliens who don't share the same values, who don't speak the same language, who don't behave in the same way, and don't accept our norms and mores. I mean, this is a country that murdered 40,000 Frenchmen by gang raping and butchering French women and slaughtering babies. That's the history of Haiti. A very bloody history.
Yep, absolutely. Now we're seeing cases of voter fraud, voter registration fraud, amongst other things. There was a Chinese nationalist who registered to vote and voted. I don't know if you saw that, and basically tried to get his ballot back after the fact. And of course, that's the only way they found out about it. Is the fact he basically reported himself.
Well, yeah, let me just very quickly remind folks you're listening to WSMN, the Common Sense Conservatives, 1590 AM, 95.3 on your FM dial every Wednesday evening. And Christmas falls on Wednesday this year, so we're going to have to discuss if we're working on Christmas. But yeah, so it's on 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. It's also on the internet, on the Truckers Independent Broadcasting Network on Facebook, I think, or on YouTube. And it's on the Common Sense Conservatives is on my channel at Real Chris Wyatt on YouTube. Anyway, every week. So yeah, Todd has opened the door. Let's go ahead and talk about fraud, and maybe we should start with Pennsylvania. Do you want me to tell you? Have you guys heard the story about Lancaster County and York County?
Yeah. Go ahead. Hit that up because that's an interesting story.
All right. Well, first off, what we have to say up front is that we're not talking about voter fraud at the moment. We're talking about voting fraud. Now, there's a difference. A voter committing fraud is voter fraud. Voting fraud is illegitimate voting related activity. So what am I talking about specifically? Well, it's not illegal to pay canvassers to set up tables to help people register to vote. You can do that. Now, if you pay someone to register to vote, that's a crime. That's a federal crime, actually, and probably a state crime in most states. So I can't pay Todd if he's not registered. Here, Todd, here's $100 to be registered to vote. That's a crime.
Right.
I can't sit at a Safeway and have a table, and Todd comes up and I go, "Hey, are you registered to vote?" "No, I'm not." Would you like us to help you get registered? Here's the form. We'll fill it out for you. You can just sign it. You can do that. So that's a big distinction. Now, also the fraud we're talking about doesn't necessarily mean that ballots are going to go to people and they're going to commit voting fraud. But it just proves how inept and weak and open to danger this system is. So in Lancaster County, the district attorney came on television and said that a large number of absentee ballot or mail-in ballot applications have been dropped off the Lancaster County Board of Elections. Of course, that's Amish country, just across the Susquehanna River on the other side from where I'm at. And John knows the area. He just drove by the Susquehanna the other day. Right. But Lancaster County. So where the Amish are at. 2,500 came in on Friday on the deadline. So they went through them as they're supposed to. They start looking at it, and they noticed that a lot of them had the same handwriting, which in itself is not necessarily a problem, folks. For instance, as I said, if I'm sitting at a table and elderly come along and they have difficulty writing, I can fill the form out for them. I can't sign it. They have to sign it. They have to read it. So that's not a problem in itself. But a lot of the signatures looked identical. That's a problem. That's fraud. So they began to look at these things, and suddenly they knew they had a serious issue. So the Lancaster County Board of Elections called in the district attorney. They got Lancaster County detectives, and they went out throughout the city of Lancaster and around the county talking to people where these applications came from, the ones that were legitimate, at least the name and social security number, they were actually on the voter rolls. And they found out that these people never submitted these things. They never filled out any form. They didn't sign it. That isn't their signature. They didn't do that. 60% of the 2,500 ballots from one batch turned in late. One batch, not too late, but late in the process, were fraudulent. That's 1,500 fraudulent applications for ballots. That's concerning. On top of that, they said they were aware of 2 other counties where this has occurred, but they would not reveal where those counties were. At the time, when I did a video on this and I spoke about it in my broadcast, I said, well, I hope it's not York County because that's where I live at. That's the neighboring county on the other side of Susquehanna. Well, guess what? It came out on Monday. In fact, York County also got batches of these. Now, these were traced back to a group that is a canvassing operation that belongs to another group that's funded and run by Democrats that is there to encourage people of color to vote. So we've got fraudulent applications for mail-in ballots, at least 2,500 in one county alone. Pennsylvania has 67 counties, ladies and gentlemen. They're not all equal in size. Many are low density, bright red, conservative counties in the northern part of the state, remote, mining, timber areas. However, Lancaster County and York County are about the same size in population, voting population. If those 2 counties both have 1,500 fraudulent ones, let's just take that as a number, which seems reasonable, plausible. That's already 3,000 fraudulent ones. Now, will some of those people vote? We don't know. But this is concerning just the same. It shows you the stupidity of mail-in balloting. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on when we get to Washington and Oregon. But that's what's going on here, guys. Again, I'm not claiming that anyone committed fraud as far as voting because no one's voted yet. But people committed fraud in submitting. Now, why would somebody do that? For the audience, let me explain why they do it. If you work as a canvasser, you're probably getting paid either by the hour and by the number of applications you get turned in. So it's in your personal interest, your best interest, to do as many registrations as possible. So maybe somebody fudged it and turned in 2,500 and gave their voucher and their receipt to the canvassing company and said, hey, pay me for 2,500. That might be all this is, but it doesn't matter. That is still a federal and a state crime. So there you go. That's the situation. Thoughts?
They need to go after this person and prosecute them. And of course, anywhere else that this is going on. Maybe you offer up a deal for this person if they know other people who are doing the same thing and go after them. Maybe there's a ring that this person could expose. Who knows?
Yeah, there you go. John, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, a while back ago, I was talking about the DNC and their strategies and stuff and how they have what's called the Better Practices Institute. And they like to teach people how to canvass, teach people how to work elections and so on and so forth, work within the DNC. And they also teach people how to create 501c3 organizations and how to get grant money and funding and stuff like that. Now, speculatively speaking, and I emphasize on speculative here, I can only speculate, but it's not impossible if somebody's going to act nefariously that they were trying to coordinate with people outside of the DNC that they trained to get these sort of things to happen. Now, that's just conspiracy theory stuff. It's not impossible. And it may not be happening at all. I don't know. But I've always been kind of curious a little bit about that.
Well, there you have it. So that's that in Pennsylvania. Now, we've also got other instances of things taking place. Let's just go ahead and jump out to the West Coast in Washington State and in Oregon, where at least 3 incidences of incendiary devices were placed in or next to drop boxes. Again, the stupidity of a drop box. And the proof of it here is that the person drove up without a license plate on the front of the car. You can't see their face in the window. So they have nothing to go on other than it's a S60 Volvo from 2003, 2006 timeframe. But they don't know. So that's from one of the places. The other ones that weren't observed. We have images of people opening the ballot box with the cinders of ballots being raked out of there. 409 ballots were destroyed in a fire by somebody putting a incendiary device in there. Mm-hmm. Now, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. So that's happened about a week before the election. Imagine if it happens on a Saturday or Sunday before the election. How many people be defrauded their vote by this activity? This is why you vote in person on election day, not election season. You present a photo ID to verify who you are, and you go into the booth and you vote on a paper ballot. Case closed. You can use machines to count the ballots, but that's how you do it. That's the end of the story. Anything else is nothing but dishonest and fraudulent, and that's why it exists, so people can steal elections.
So this article, as far as Oregon and Washington goes, says ballot boxes in Oregon and Washington were set on fire with incendiary devices early Monday in what authorities believe are connected incidents. Devices used in the arson incidents carried markings with the expression "Free Gaza." 2 sources familiar with the ongoing investigation told ABC News.
Now that's news. That's new information. Free Gaza was not available most recently when I looked at that. So that's a nice development. Well, so it's a leftist then, or it's somebody pretending to be a leftist. It might not be a leftist. You never know. So there you have it. I mean, the lunacy of putting a box out where people can drop ballots off as if it's, this isn't a suggestion box. This isn't the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. This is our leadership for our nation, and to treat it so cheaply, the most sacred value. Here's another one. Let's go back to something else here. Remember Georgia? Oh, Georgia's election laws are racist. They've changed the law, so you have to have photo ID. This is voter suppression. As black people can't get photo ID. So, okay, all right. 2022, after the election laws passed, Georgia sets a record for turnout in election. Mm-hmm. This year, so far, a record for people. 76% of the votes are already in Georgia from the numbers from last time. And that's before you get to voting day, and we still have days left for this early voting. So this is just nonsense. Georgia gets record turnout with people having more secure voting and showing ID.
So is this just ineptitude, or let me read this to you. Is this ineptitude, or is this what I was referring to earlier? The Colorado Secretary of State's office inadvertently posted a spreadsheet to its website with a hidden tab that included voting system passwords. In a statement to 9 News, a spokesperson with Colorado Secretary of State's office said that the department is working to remedy the situation where necessary. The department took immediate action as soon as it was aware of this and informed the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, which closely monitors and protects the county's essential security infrastructure. How do you do that?
Well, you do it intentionally. Not to be
That's what I'm thinking.
Not to be conspiracy theorists, but if you want to be able to say, Mother May I, it was just an honest mistake, you do something like that, you put it on a website and you make it available where other people can get documents, but then you tell the people that need the information so they can do whatever they're going to do, nefarious, where to find it. Listen, I saw the letter that went into the Colorado elections, folks. I'm trying to find it right now here from the 18-year-old who found this and was able to get all of the passwords. They have put the state's election at risk by doing this. And the person responsible for this, Ms. Griswold, is refusing to resign. She's a disgrace. Now, this is the same person who argued and fought for the Colorado elections official to be sent to jail. She went to jail for 9 years. Remember that? Just got her decision. She goes to jail for 9 years for violating election law. And what she did is she gave her lanyard or her password to someone else to handle the task. While that's wrong and a violation of law, I don't think 9 years is warranted. We see pedos and rapists get out of jail far sooner than that. But she's going to jail in a penitentiary for 9 years. And this official, Miss Griswold, should be in jail. She should be in jail. Her actions are unacceptable. And she was interviewed, Secretary of State Jenna Griswold. She was interviewed about this, and she was asked if she would resign. She said, no, I'm not going to resign. But you're perfectly fine putting someone in prison for doing something far less egregious, far less dangerous to the election system than what you did through negligence or intentional action. We don't know which. It's a dumpster fire. Colorado is a dumpster fire, but that's because the left runs Colorado. Everybody's high. They're all smoking pot. They have no respect for human dignity, human life. It's just a disgrace.
Yeah, Colorado kind of turned to crap. Have you heard of this one about Act Blue?
Act Blue. Sounds
House
like
investigators.
A Democrat thing.
House investigators prepared Wednesday to subpoena the Democrat donations platform Act Blue in a rapidly expanding probe into possible illicit foreign funding in the 2024 election. After the Treasury Department confirmed to Congress its money laundering detection system has generated hundreds of suspicious activity reports related to the online fundraising giant. The dramatic developments were communicated to House members and Act Blue itself in a series of memos this week obtained by Just the News that reaffirmed that lawmakers fear foreign adversaries like China, Iran, Venezuela, and Russia may be routing illicit foreign money into Democratic coffers by using the names of unsuspecting American donors.
Well, look, we know that the British Labour Party got caught, eliciting and paying for volunteers, which weren't volunteers, to fly over to America to interfere in our elections to campaign for Kamala Harris. That's illegal. And where's the outrage over that? There's no outrage. Nothing to see here. No widespread fraud. We have widespread fraud right here in 2 counties in Pennsylvania already, before the election's even taken place. And it's already been revealed. And it's from reputable news sources. Fox 43 News out of York is reporting this, as well as news outlets around the country. So they can lie and they can demonize and they can try to distract all they want. But we know what's going on here. It happened previously. It's happening again. And people just don't want to believe it. Open your eyes. This isn't a conspiracy theory. There's no nuts here. I'm stating facts. You'll notice that I went out of my way to make the point that the voter application fraud is not voting fraud. I was very clear about that, wasn't I, gentlemen?
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. You made the distinction for sure.
Anyway,
But nothing to see there. Nothing to see there, though.
No, it's
nothing to see, folks. Move on. Nothing to see here. The New York cop.
Yeah. So that's Colorado. That's Pennsylvania. That's Oregon and Washington State already. But look, I mean, this is an election like no other. I mean, they've tried to take out Trump twice that we know of. I mean, how many assassination attempts have we not been informed about? I mean, not everything is publicly out there where people can see it.
Well, there was that one when they were concerned about chemicals or something, some attempt with chemicals, because a lot of the visitors, the guests there that were near Trump came up with some sort of burns or something on their rashes or something. Like
that's from Trump's hair dye, man.
That was his hair dye.
Right, yeah.
Skin dye, hair dye, it's all good.
That's his hair dye. They all got orange, They thought it was Agent Orange.
I don't know what that was about. I remember that report came out. It was kind of odd. And somebody was speculating that maybe they were trying to catch the wind with some chemical or agent or something. I don't know.
I think Trump's trying to catch a wind with that pompadour hair he's got, man. I'm just saying he's got it going on there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does all right for a man his age. He's not doing too bad in the hair department.
So there's one more election interference, and this one is one I'm investigating now. So I'm going to be careful about how I word this, but it appearing yesterday all over social media was a report and videos that in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, that election officials were shutting down the voting line because too many Republicans were showing up. Well, I had to know the Republicans, anyway, but maybe they just saw the returns. Whatever the case is, what I can tell you is that there's video out there, several videos purporting to be from voting stations in Bucks County, Pennsylvania yesterday. And one of which the lady is there and she's there at like 4:00. It's supposed to be open until 5 for people to do early voting. And they turned her away. They put a deputy sheriff out there to block the line and they wouldn't let anybody else go in. And she said, well, I got to go in. The other lady said that was working there said, no, we shut down at 1:45. Why? I give a right to vote. I came here to vote. So the Trump campaign is suing Pennsylvania over that. So it's already happening. It's already happening. The problem is that Scott Pressler has done too good a job getting Republicans registered to vote in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Well, I was getting concerned when you said Amish country earlier because Scott Pressler's worked a lot with the Amish, and I'm like, oh, is this going to backfire on us? What's going on here? And I don't think he's the type of person that would do that.
No, he's not dishonest. He's not a leftist.
No,
and leftists have already attacked Scott Pressler. They're like, oh, see, look at that. Look at Pressler's going to go to jail now over this. Well, he has nothing to do with it. This was a group that is Democrat funded, and it's only for Black Americans, people of color. It's not for the rest of us. So anyway. It's there. It's real. And people want to deny it all they want, but we need to get rid of these clowns at the state, the local, the federal level, and bring in honest Americans who will fight for this country, not for their self-aggrandizement.
It's going to take some prosecutions. That's what we need. We need some prosecutions. We can't just keep finding this stuff and unearthing this stuff, and then people just get to walk away, scot-free,
Right.
The only prosecutions I can refer to so far have been Republican officials.
Absolutely.
Not only one Democrat. That's a guy who was convicted in the ab scam scandal, got convicted recently, but because it was so egregious. He did it in every election. He finally went to jail.
But can you imagine if they prosecute? Investigated Act Blue and they start prosecuting them guys left and right in there. That would be huge.
Yeah, John, that would be Donald Trump exacting revenge against his political opponents.
Oh,
That's
well,
right.
Yeah. And isn't that what Kamala said? If we elect him, he's looking for revenge. He's already said so. It's like, no, he's looking for justice. Justice and revenge are two different things.
Absolutely.
He's looking for justice. We need it in our country.
I believe I actually heard him said he's not looking for retaliation. He just wants to get elected and fix this country. He wants to move on. It's not going to be healthy for him to retaliate. However, I think you're right. I think justice needs to be served in a lot of these things, but I think it probably should come from the House, say with the Judiciary Committee and stuff like that, pushing things.
I think the Department of Justice needs to do this. But look, we don't need we don't need Jeff Sessions. We need Jack McCoy. Dun dun.
Yeah. Right.
No, but the House can push the Department of Justice, can they not, through the Judiciary Committee?
Yeah, they can, but it's the Department of Justice needs to take action on this. The Department of Justice is spending its time hunting down honest Americans instead of doing its job. The meritless Garland is still angry that the Republicans wouldn't forward his nomination so he could be a Supreme Court justice. It still irks him all these years later. It's already been 8 years.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
thing about it. The
9
left
years.
is corrupt. They're not going to prosecute anybody. It's going to take somebody who's honest enough to get the job done and do it rightfully. I mean, if some injustice comes from the right, prosecute them too. I mean, I'm not saying it is coming from the right. I'm just saying if it is, then you find it, prosecute everybody. We need fair and honest elections again. We can't run a
So,
country without some sort of integrity.
so Obama, Clinton, and Harris are out there complaining about Trump will go after his political enemies. The dystopian view, those lunatics, I'm like, Whoopi Goldberg really needs a lobotomy. She does. But these idiots are all out there running around, Misha Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough, the wackadoodles over there at MSDNC. They're all running around saying Trump is going to prosecute or persecute his political enemies. It's un-American. I'm sorry. Eric Holder was in contempt of Congress for Fast and Furious, which led to the deaths of DEA agents, and 200,000 people have been murdered in Mexico by the cartels. In no small measure because the guns that the U.S. government sold to drug dealers in Mexico as part of their idiotic plan to catch drug dealers under Eric Holder. He was in contempt of Congress, never charged criminally for his actions, but in contempt of Congress. Did he go to jail? No. Did he pay a fine? No. So Steve Bannon refuses to violate executive privilege, refuses to incriminate himself under his Fifth Amendment protected rights, and he's found in contempt of Congress and spends 4 months in jail as a 70-year-old. Peter Navarro, the most wonderful human being on the planet, is an economic advisor to the president. He has nothing to say because he wasn't involved in this stuff. He was there giving economic advice, but they target him. He goes to the witch hunt January 6th committee, and he takes the Fifth Amendment. And for that, they find him in contempt of Congress, which is bogus. And he goes to prison.
Yeah,
it's perfect. He has a constitutional right to do that. They sent him to prison for 4 months. He's a 70-plus-year-old man. And they're saying Trump is going to target his opponents. That's exactly what they're doing. Everything they say Trump is going to do, that's exactly what they've done. These people are criminals. They're reprobates. They're about self-aggrandizement. They're self-enrichment and craven political power. And they must be eliminated at the ballot box. Not like Joe Biden, who called for Trump to be eliminated, and then we saw 2 assassination attempts. I'm talking about at the ballot box. I mean, look at the Democrats. Eric Swalwell sleeps with Chinese spies. Barbara Boxer has Chinese spies driving for her. And then the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, has Chinese spies working for her.
Yep.
They have sold us down the river, the Democrats. And they're the same people who brought us the Ku Klux Klan, the same people who brought us Jim Crow, the same people that brought us the internment of Japanese Americans at concentration camps. That is the legacy and the history and the reality of the Democrats. The same party that called us a basket of deplorals but irredeemables. The same party that said we cling to God and our guns. And the same party whose president called us garbage. You know what, Joe? You can stick it where the sun don't shine, buddy.
What's interesting, Chris, is the same party that tells us that we don't have a right to keep and bear arms. That's just kind of more of a suggestion. That party right there that wants to infringe upon our rights, First Amendment and Second Amendment now these days, are the same party that declare that they have a right that doesn't exist.
The Constitution is not a suggestion. It's the law of the land.
Right.
And it must be adhered to. But throughout our history, it's been violated by presidents, by political parties, by Congress.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. It's a simple document. It's a beautiful document, which almost every country in the world has tried to emulate and copy. They've all plagiarized from our Constitution. It's the longest serving Constitution on the planet. We're not the longest serving government. That would be in Iceland, but we're the longest serving constitutional republic in the world.
I would suggest that they I wouldn't call it plagiarism exactly. I'm saying you're welcome to it. Copy it. Do it. Emulate it. I mean, why not? If the whole world was using our U.S. Constitution, it would be wonderful.
Well, people have to adhere to it. We're not adhering to it. So, it is beyond sad to listen to the ignorance of people who have the right to vote. So many stupid people who know nothing about our country. For instance, the whole thing with abortion. It's not changing. First off, let's be very clear. Abortion's not on the ballot, and abortion is not illegal in any state. Trump was president. Abortion wasn't illegal. The Dobbs decision occurred. Abortion is still legal in all 50 states and 4 territories. Nothing has changed. Yet you people are hysterical, and you're going to vote for a person who can't string 2 sentences together, who hasn't accomplished anything in life. And when asked, after she claimed that she's the agent of change, that the country, her and Waltrip, the country's on the wrong path. Hello, you're in charge. So if it's on the wrong path, we should fire you. I mean, how stupid are you people to tell people that? Oh, the country's on the wrong path. The last 4 years have been disastrous. You've been there. You're the one responsible for it. So you should be fired. They're just that stupid. They take us for rubes.
The
Hey,
same
focus
Kamala
groups.
Harris who was asked, well, what would you change about the Biden administration? Well, not a thing. Right after
Not
she said we need to
nothing I can
change
think
things.
of. You know
Yeah.
what? That's my new clothing line. A picture of a dunderheaded, starstruck, deer in headlights look, Kamala Harris. Nothing I can think of.
Yeah, nothing I can think of. Yeah, or the
Oh my
that,
goodness.
that is funny. Oh, nothing I can think of. But why do we need to change that? I mean, come on now.
My goodness. I mean, this is just, remember when she came into the administration, what was her first issue? She whined that the vice president's residence at the observatory was being renovated and she didn't have a residence worthy of her stature. Lady,
Right.
what's worthy of your stature is a trailer park in West Virginia, and I'll be happy to buy one for you.
Right. Yeah. I can tell you that, the Navy is up there at the observatory on a regular basis. It's their property. It's their responsibility to maintain the property, to ensure everything's up to date, upgraded, whatever. And what they usually do is wait between administrations to do maintenance, so things break down over a period of time. So whenever there's time, they hold off moving somebody in. They do the maintenance, everything they need to do. It's, it's an old house, early 1900s, I think it was built. Maybe, I think 1800s, maybe.
Yeah.
It's an old house. I mean, you need to do maintenance and regular, upgrades to it. Or if not, it's going to collapse around you.
So what
It's
you're
just
saying is
simple.
it's like when a senator is newly elected senator goes to the DC, they get a downstairs office for temporary while they're renovating the upstairs office and getting things together for them. They don't get to move right in. It's common.
Right.
But listen, the cheek, the arrogance, you see, I was raised in a middle-class family. No, you weren't, sweetheart. You're raised in Canada. You're not middle class. You got two parents, both of which made north of $100,000 as university lecturers. That ain't middle class. Not back in the day you grew up. That's not middle class.
No. Yeah.
You're
doing
Today, that's middle class.
This is a good question here for us. How will y'all react if Vice President Harris is elected next week?
I'm leaving the country. Not.
Yeah.
How
are
will
you
I
going to
react?
go, Australia?
How will I react? I will make sure that I remember where I buried my silver coins in the backyard because I'm going to need them for barter when the economy collapses next year.
Yep.
Oh, did I say that out loud? Darn. Don't be digging in my backyard.
There you go.
Right.
You're going to have your gun's going to be mysteriously stolen or I mean, buried in the backyard. No, I mean, mysteriously stolen. I had a guy when Biden or Obama was elected, before he got inaugurated, he told me, he says, yeah, my guns all disappeared all of a sudden since he's being inaugurated. I went and reported to the police and everything. They ain't getting my guns. I'm telling you, they ain't getting mine. Like, dude, okay.
Yeah. So if you have to do that, if you ever even suspect that if Harris gets elected, you're going to have to do that. You should be doing everything you possibly can to ensure, everything legally, mind you, to ensure she doesn't even see the inside of the Oval Office ever again after January 20th. That's it. Period.
I cannot disagree with that statement. Look, this person is dangerous. She hasn't got an original thought or a thought in her head.
No.
If she doesn't have a teleprompter, she doesn't know what to say. And that's why she's always hysterically laughing. She never answers the question. I mean, let me just reenact this one. Hang on, John. Let me reenact. This is important before we get to the break. Madam Vice President, many of your followers and people who want to support you have heard you say that you're the change agent, that the last 4 years have been disastrous. But they point out that you've served in this administration as a vice president for 3.5 years. What do you say to those who would like to vote for you but can't square that?
Well, that's a Donald Trump lie.
Let me be perfectly honest, Brett. Let me be perfectly clear. Donald Trump has been running for office for 9 years. Excuse me? What does that have to do with anything? The woman is, look, I cannot believe anybody who's rational would vote for this woman. Look, if you don't want to vote for Trump, don't vote. But don't vote for that thundering, blathering idiot who can't even look. I thought Joe Biden was bad, but she takes the cake. I mean, remember, selected, not elected. Not a single person in this country has ever voted for her to be president because she withdrew from Iowa because she was doing so poorly in the polls. And she wasn't elected here, not even by delegates. She was selected.
Right.
This criminal enterprise known as the Democratic Party stole the nomination from Joe Biden and pushed the senile old bugger out to pasture. And now he's getting even by making verbal faux pas and toilet humor that's really killing her campaign.
So I think I think her winning this election would take a miracle, to be honest with you. I think they're looking more and more desperate, and there's a reason for that. But if she happened to get elected, I'd assume that we would do what most people do. We would hunker down, plan on a rough 4 years and figure out how we're going to get through those 4 years. Kamala Harris won't be running anything. Chris described her earlier as a puppet. That's all she'll ever be. Whoever's been running this country for these 4 years will continue to run the country for the next 4 years, most likely Barack Obama.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be his 4th term as president.
I was thinking, I was listening to Eminem had introduced Barack Obama on stage here recently, and I was listening to that song. What's that song? I can't think of it now. Well, just escaped me. But anyway, he had the lyrics in the song, "Make me a king." How'd that go? Make me a king. No, I forgot the lyrics. Make me a king, looking toward for new world order. And it reminded me, wasn't there a Nostradamus quatrain about the Black King of the West? Barack Obama.
Look, I know who Nostradamus is, but I don't spend much time reading
Nostradamus. I never have.
No.
I mean, those things are so
Nostradamus is good for
worded.
entertainment, but I was just thinking about it for those who like that sort of stuff. Years ago, I'm talking about 1980 stuff. I remember something about a quatrain about that, and I thought, because people thought, well, that's impossible. We don't have kings out here, but Nostradamus wouldn't see it as a president because he wouldn't understand.
Well, that was out of context at his time. They didn't have republics back then. It was something that disappeared with Greece and Rome long before.
Thank you. Lose Yourself was the name of the song. For some reason, I couldn't think of it.
Well, look, I don't know what to say about that. We are coming up at the top of the hour. We'll talk more about fraud and events going on the next hour, but we're going to say their time.
Karine Jean-Pierre, it's official. He did not call, Joe Biden did not call anybody garbage. Karine Jean-Pierre put that out. So that's official. It's from the White House. So.
We believe everything that comes out of the White House.
Sure, we do.
I believe Nostradamus more than I do the White House these days.
Bingo. Hello.
America's favorite Haitian lesbian. Always good to hear from Karine Jean-Pierre and her little orphan Annie haircut.
Michael says not Hussein. He isn't smart enough. He's just a tool of the New World Order.
Who's not smart enough?
He said not Hussein. I'm assuming he's using Obama's middle name.
Oh, Barry. So. Barry. Yeah, no, Barry. Whenever I say Barry, I'm thinking of Barry White.
Well, whole different spectrum there.
Yeah, no, but it just makes me, I don't know. They're not related at all.
You say Obama's just kind of seducing the country.
I don't know about
he kind of turned the lights down low on us and started getting in that deep bass voice.
It's embarrassing when Obama tries to pretend that he's black. It's embarrassing.
Well, did he try to rap on the stage or something like that?
He did. Eminem? My palms are sweaty. He's doing Eminem. I was like, oh, this is sad. That's worse than me singing. Look, I spent more time living in black neighborhoods in my childhood than Barack Obama has his entire life. This guy is. I spent more time as an adult living in countries where black folks are the majority than he ever has. The guy is such a fraud. All of them. Their affectation changes. Kamala Harris. I heard she was not going to go on Joe Rogan because she couldn't come up with the right accent.
That's good.
Right, and Joe Rogan would have been fair with her, I think. So.
I don't know. I don't watch Joe Rogan, but apparently
36 million people did with the Trumpists around there. So,
yep. I mean, far more than watches CNN on a daily basis. I think he has more.
That's more than watches CNN on a 6-month running basis.
Right. Yeah. He has more individuals watch his stuff than we've seen and MSNBC combined in a day or a week for sure.
My video on my censored channel on YouTube got more views than in one night on CNN. I got 123,000 views on that. That's better than MSNBC even, Come on. Even better than Rachel Maddow. Give me a break.
Hear the music there?
No, the music's not there, man.
It is. All right, folks, we're back in the next hour for the second hour of the Common Sense Service. We're less than a week away from Decision 2024. Stick around. We'll talk more about what's going on in the next hour. Cheers.
WSMN 1590. WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at wsmn.live.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Former President Trump has had his name on buildings, airplanes, now the side of a garbage truck.
How do you like my garbage truck?
Holding an impromptu news conference from the cab of the truck and taking President Biden to task after Biden appeared to call Trump supporters garbage during a campaign call.
They shouldn't be talking. That's like deplorable for Hillary. This is the deplorable for Hillary. And I think this is worse, actually. For Joe Biden to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
The White House says Biden was talking about the comedian at Trump's New York rally that called Puerto Rico a floating garbage island. Vice President Kamala Harris urging supporters in swing state Pennsylvania today to get out the vote.
We love our country. And when you love something, you fight for it.
And gas prices are falling. The average now $3.11 a gallon. That's down 8 cents since last month and 35 cents since last year. This is ABC News. New government data finds the economy is growing. People are spending and private employers are hiring.
We actually saw in October the largest spike, the largest jump up in consumer confidence in 3.5 years. Now, that's 1 month. I try not to over-torque on any monthly or quarterly result. But that trend is also moving in the right direction. And I think one of the reasons for that is that real incomes are up $4,000 since this president took office.
Jared Bernstein, chair of the U.S. Council of Economic Advisors, telling ABC News that people are making more money than they were a few years ago. Restaurant chain Subway is facing a class action lawsuit over the amount of meat in customers' sandwiches. At 114 years old, Naomi Whitehead is believed to be the oldest person living in North America. The Pennsylvania woman has outlived her husband and 3 sons. White House says she's never smoked or drank alcohol, but credits her longevity to good genes and enjoying things like cooking and music. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Bills piling up? Rent due? Just need some extra cash to get by? Then you need to go to 89cash.com, where you can get approved for a loan of up to $10,000 in minutes. No need to search through endless loan sites. 89cash.com is one of the largest lender networks. They can help anyone get up to $10,000 regardless of their credit score. Best part? The money can be in your bank account as soon as the next day. When you need fast cash help, go to 89cash.com. That's 89cash.com.
Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit,
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Welcome to Campers in RV of Merrimack, New Hampshire for our monster of a sale. Get ready for this spine-tingling savings event on our entire inventory of travel trailers, fifth wheels, and motorhomes, and we're scaring up some fantastic deals just for you. With falling interest rates and unbelievable prices, it's a combination to die for. We have RVs that are perfect for spooky movie nights and ghost story sessions around the campfire. So don't miss October's spectacular savings sale event at Campers in RV in Merrimack, New Hampshire. Visit us today, if you dare.
Continuing the legacies.
And we're back, folks. In the break there, John, I don't know if you caught that. I was busy searching the net. Donald Trump pulls it off again. I don't know if you saw it, but he shows up at Green Bay, Wisconsin, wearing a orange vest, and then he hops in a dumpster, trash truck. He drives around. This guy is the ultimate
Are you
troll.
serious?
I'm serious. Look it up on Twitter. Look it up on social media. Donald Trump is trolling Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. The ultimate. Vivek Ramaswamy driving around the back of a trash truck collecting trash today.
Yeah, I saw that. I love it. I mean, what a sense of humor. I mean, who else could campaign like this and pull it off? I mean, not George W. Bush, not
Nah,
anybody else.
The Trumpster. It's just so genuine. Working at McDonald's,
Right. And enjoyed it, and he enjoyed it, though.
And they got nothing. Oh, it was a fake PR stunt. Of course it was a stunt. Good Lord. That's what's so funny about it. Meanwhile, we got Kamala Harris lying about working at McDonald's. Nobody knows she worked there. She won't release her income tax records. She has no evidence, no pay stubs. And she's claiming she worked in a McDonald's in Oakland when she wasn't even in Oakland back in 1983. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. This is a rising sophomore.
How did he pull that off so fast?
Because it's the Trumpster, man. He's a billionaire. Despite the lies about it, he can make anything happen.
He just called his buddy that worked at Waste Management. Hey, man, get me hooked up with a trash truck today. I need it since Joe spoke.
He got a great campaign, and they come up with some great ideas. I mean, and he doesn't have these old fogies that are like stuck in the past. He has a lot of young folks around him, 20s, 30s, and 40 something. They come up with these ideas, and they spitball them, and of course they formulated a plan and they execute it. They do a pretty decent job most of the time, for sure.
One of his top campaigners is Carolyn Levitt here from New Hampshire. She ran against man, I can't even think of his name now. He's a House member anyway. Pappas. But she's like 30, and she got people younger than her still working for the campaign. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
By the way, the Colorado official, Secretary of State there, Jenna Griswold, who's responsible for this leaking of the passwords, is the same official who illegally sought to remove Donald Trump from the ballot in Colorado.
There we go. Yeah. And then it comes full circle, doesn't it? Yeah.
They got him a safety vest and everything, man. That's awesome.
Oh, they did. Yeah, he's awesome there. By the way, gentlemen, you probably noticed my attire tonight. Pennsylvania for Trump. The cap is on.
Yeah. What's the shirt there? I can't make that out quite.
Oh, it's a hoodie. This is the William Webb Ellis signature collection of good quality hoodies from the 2023 Rugby World Cup in France. It's good quality. This is all embroidered. I've got the France World Cup emblem over here. Each cup is different. The emblem on this side, it's a emblem for the William Webb Ellis. That's the trophy you win. And it's got even embroidered on the side here. It's got the Rugby World Cup. It's really nice. I don't wear it very often because I want it to last a while. But yeah, I wore it today. So, yep. But Trump, he's out there trolling. I love it. He's the ultimate troll, man. I'm telling you, the Trumpster is just too good. He's too good, man.
I don't know if that makes him a troll or not, but
of course it's trolling.
Okay.
It's good troll. Look, not all trolling is
I
bad.
was gonna say I always had a negative connotation towards trolling, but
no. Good.
But what's so funny is Trump and his people know that this is going to blow up. Social media is going to go viral.
Absolutely.
Every platform, people are going to love it, and people are going to be like, "Man, where's this guy that the left says he is? This guy looks like a lighthearted, fun-loving guy." You wouldn't see Putin doing something like this. I mean, where's the guy that we're supposed to hate? I mean, come on.
Yeah, this is good marketing, man. He totally turned that around on Biden.
Well, in addition to this, they constantly try to portray Trump as fragile. I mean, Kamala Harris saying that, he's not well. He's his cognitive abilities. I mean, the guy is everywhere all the time.
There's no way you can make that claim.
Today he was in North Carolina. He's in Green Bay. The other day he was in Pennsylvania. Then he's in, he starts the day out in Florida, does an interview with Sean Hannity in Florida. Then he goes to Pennsylvania. From Pennsylvania, he goes to Madison Square Garden, gives an 75-minute speech. I mean, give me a break. These people are just this guy is like the Energizer Bunny.
When he sleeps? En route. He sleeps en route. He's in the limo or something, snoozing away. He's not. I don't think the guy's resting a full night's sleep for most people.
Oh goodness, I'll tell you.
He's probably about 4 hours a night, cat naps in between.
Something else. Look, I was never a fan of Donald Trump, but you know what? I voted for him each time. But you know what they're doing? They're making me a Trump fan. They're making me. Call me garbage. 36 and a half years, multiple combat tours, sacrificing for family and my life and wealth and fortune that I could have made on Wall Street or in the Silicon Valley easily to serve and defend, and they're going to call me garbage. You can stick it where the sun don't shine. Look, I mean, I overlooked the deplorables because I wasn't from Pennsylvania, and I overlooked the God and guns thing. I mean, I was angry about it, but it didn't offend me personally. But I'm offended now. You are turning me into a Trump fan, and I have no shame for that, and there's no reason to be ashamed of it.
It's more fun being on this side of it, isn't it?
Oh, it is, because the guy's just hilarious. I mean, he's just so funny. I mean, the McDonald's stunt was great. Now this is fantastic. He shows up in a trash truck. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Only Donald Trump, man. Only Donald Trump.
And you still have the weekend, and of course the Sunday talk shows to be able to do one more thing that could go viral to just push Kamala off the front page here.
I can imagine Trump's over there going, I don't need a resume, but hey, I can add this to my resume.
Yeah, there you go. Oh my goodness. Now I'm looking at this on social media. It's everywhere. It is everywhere. Everyone's showing this thing. They're not showing Joe Biden, but they are showing everywhere. What's this? Double check your ballot. Trump's name is spelled correctly. Otherwise, it might be flagged as an error. What is this? Somebody's ballot somewhere. They've got Trump with the name is misspelled and there's a dot after the M and P. That's weird. Wonder where that's at.
Yeah.
Wonder where that's at. Does this guy say where he's from? I don't know.
Yeah, at this point, there is no excuse for any ballot to be misspelled, to be mislabeled, to be misread in any reader whenever you have paper ballots or anything like that. In the 21st century, there is no way we should have a hanging Chad situation, if you will. And I use that loosely, of course.
Only if they want it to happen, Todd.
Of course, yeah.
As Chris said earlier, only if they want it.
Well, the thing about this with the trash thing, guys, is that Trump is dressed as a garbage collector. So he's collecting all the garbage. He's bringing us all on board.
Yeah,
it's definitely metaphorical, man.
And guess who some of the garbage is he brought in today? None other than Brett Favre in Green Bay, Wisconsin, speaking at a Trump rally.
Yep.
Well, I take that from Something About Mary. That big hunk of beef
Brett
for Brett Favre.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I was going to ask if that's how you pronunciate his name because I never heard it like that.
But no, it's because that's how they said it in the movie Something About Mary. So first off, she talks about she used to have a boyfriend named Brett. And you don't know who it is, and then she did Brett Favre. They say anyway. So Brett Favre. He's speaking at the Trump rally, and Trump's out collecting the garbage. That would be our votes. Oh my goodness. Look, I was feeling good. Now I'm feeling really good about what's going on here. Trump's heading every battleground state. They can lie about the polls. I saw it's a young lady that went to Bowling Green who became famous because she had her rifle on campus and they banned her or something like that from campus. And then she went on, she's affiliated with one of these groups. They promote her all the time. So she goes out with a microphone all the time and asks people on the beach or, Florida or in college campuses. So she went to one of the campuses there in Florida. And of course, we hear endlessly that students are all leftists. They're all in the tank for the Democrats and they're all voting for Kamala. So she's out there on the street corner right next to the campus in town. And she's got one of those little whiteboards and she's got a dry erase. And people walk by and they're mostly college students. They're almost all college. She goes, Harris or Trump? Trump or Harris? And like 75% of them are like Trump. So one of the chicks says, Harris, she's for women's rights, and walks away and her friend is with her. So her friend doesn't sign it. As she crosses the street, her friend comes back and marks Trump all the way and joins her friend again.
I love that. I was out in West Tennessee and we were having pizza in Jackson, Tennessee there. And behind me, just where they set me, there was two black ladies and a white lady coworker. And they're talking about the election, talking about Kamala. And one of the black ladies I hear her say, she's giving it 100%. And she's doing what she can. And then the lady goes, it's just the fact that her 100% isn't nowhere near good enough. And she said her policies are nonsense. And she says the only good ideas she has are the ones that Trump has proposed or Trump implemented whenever he was in office. And they're like, that's why we're voting for Trump. So basically, you had three people that normally would probably have voted for Kamala that are voting for Trump. So
well, I mean, what policies she has now are pandering. First off, she's like, I'm gonna give $1 million loan to black men so they can start businesses. Unconstitutional, racist. You can't do that, sweetheart. And then she's like, well, and I'm gonna legalize weed for black men. Oh, so that's all black men care about is weed? Oh, that's very condescending. That's like the leftists who say that, you can't have voter ID because black people lack agency or too stupid or too lazy to go get an ID card like everybody else in the country. Native Americans can manage an ID card all the way out there in remote reservations. We get driver's license or a photo ID. We can see Hispanics and Asian Americans, recent immigrants who barely speak English can get an ID card. And for that matter, criminal alien invaders steal Social Security numbers and get fake ID cards or get real ID cards with fake information. But black folks are too dumb, too lazy, too stupid, and not bright enough to get a photo ID. Yeah, that's what they think about you, black folks. That's what Democrats think. I think Black Americans do not lack agency. They're intelligent and perfectly capable of doing what any other American is capable of doing. There's no suppression. There's no voter suppression. The voter suppression is from Democrats who are trying to cheapen our votes by making it so easy for illegal criminals, felons, and foreign nationals to vote in our election and dumb down our election. That's the real problem here.
Right. And if people think that that their vote doesn't count, you're talking yourself out of being able to have a say. You're going to go out the next 4 years to 8 years complaining if you allow the wrong people to go in there. If you think your vote doesn't count, it absolutely counts. It's important for you to show up and vote. And of course, if you have an absentee ballot, get it in on time. At this point, you should probably have already made up your mind. If not, hey, take a look at the issues, take a look at the candidates, see who resonates with you, and go out there and cast your vote for sure. And I think most common sense individuals will vote for Trump without a doubt, hands down.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're just honest about things, I mean, so back to our policies, which is always getting at there, is that, I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, the $1 million opportunity grants, essentially, loans, which will be forgiven. That's called a grant. That's a gift. That's not a loan. So that's a lie for starters. Kind of like student loans now. You take them out, you don't have to pay it back. Everyone else pays back your loan.
Right.
Buy your Apple earbuds and your iPhones and your studio and your tickets to concerts and go to spring break on our dime, because hey, we're paying for that instead of you paying and putting sweat equity into your own education. Anyway, so that opportunity grant is nonsense. It's not an opportunity. It's just an opportunity to swindle the rest of the country. And then in addition to that, $25,000 for first time home buyers, a grant. Why am I paying for someone to buy a home? Nobody gave me $25,000 to buy my first home. I had to earn my way in life. Why do I have to finance someone else because leftists want to take my money and give it to? Never mind the inflationary upward pressure that's going to put on home prices. Everyone's going to jump the price of their home by $25,000 now because they know they get to $25,000 first-time home buyers paid for by taxpayers. Her policies are stupid. They're beyond stupid. They're dumb. 18 Nobel laureates and economists have approved. Nobody's read your plan. Anybody that's a legitimate economist that's read your plan is going, oh my God, this woman is dumber than a box of rocks. In fact, I've got a box of rocks, and it's brighter than her. It shines in the dark. That'd be radioactive rocks, by the way.
Right. Absolutely. Now, here's the thing.
Or
Trump
phosphorus.
I was going to say.
Trump wins. Fast forward to January 6th, whatever day Congress is meeting to go through all
certify the results.
Certify the results. Does the left go to the Capitol at this point and quote storm the Capitol? I mean, how does it work out? How does it play
they
out?
may very well do that, but there'll be 20,000 Maryland, D.C., and Pennsylvania and Virginia National Guardsmen on the Capitol building with riot gear, and the Capitol Police will deploy themselves in front of the reflecting pool, not up the steps. So yeah, go ahead, bring it on. And oh, by the way, the moment Trump wins this thing, that from that moment on, it's lawfare the rest of the way. Lawsuits, no
absolutely.
basis, no standing, suing on everything under the sun, going to the Ninth Circuit Court in California over and over again.
Yeah.
The Ninth Circuit Court needs to get ready for nonstop, no vacation time for the next 4 years, because they're going to be inundated with bogus lawsuits by leftists, hate wankers who just can't come to grips. I would like to see Madonna and Kathy Griffin and Alec Baldwin. Well, not Alec Baldwin. He needs to go to prison, but those others just leave the country. Share. And don't go to Canada. Don't ruin Canada. It's bad enough already. Why don't you go to, I don't know, Haiti? Go to Haiti. You love it so much.
So I can't decide, to Todd's point, I just can't decide, do they release Antifa before inauguration or after inauguration?
No, after the election, if it goes against them, they're going to be full bore for the next 4 years or so, probably.
Isn't Antifa already in action? Aren't they part of this administration?
Well, they've been quiet, right? Because this administration is active. But when Trump was president, man, it was nonstop Antifa here, Antifa there, along with BLM. I mean, they'll probably make up a few more organizations to sick on us.
Yeah, and I've heard behind the scenes that the left is working on some plans to figure out how they can use Congress to basically steal the election from Trump. Should he actually win? Jamie
Raskin and other demon rats say they have a plan in place to prevent Trump from taking office.
Their plan is to win both the House and the Senate, so they don't have to certify him if he wins. That's their plan. So those listening, that's more reason to vote
down
Republican.
Ballot. The down ballot, absolutely. But I don't think that they're going to win the House and the Senate to be able to do that. But this has been truly discussed, behind closed doors by I'll use air quotes, serious people in the Democrat Party.
Yeah, I think. Well, what is it? They get sworn in on the second or the third,
right?
And when's the?
It's within a few days. Yeah,
certification. So I think they were looking to pass a bill, in that time frame because Biden can sign it, and so if they had the power to vote on it, pass a bill at a rapid pace, then they could get Biden to sign it, and then go, hey, look, we got a law to keep from certifying Trump because he's a criminal.
Right. And they would do it rapidly. They'd pass it. He would sign it in the middle of the night, and they would do whatever they could, all in the dark of night, before the Supreme Court, before anybody could even file any injunction at any court. They would get it all done in the middle of the night. So yeah.
So it's already written. Basically, it's already written, waiting to go. The only thing is they got to beat the conservative right because they got to have the number of votes. And so now to beat the right, what they end up doing, there's a strategy of, you said in the middle of the night, and there's a strategy, and we've heard this from Marjorie Taylor Greene, where I didn't get a notification we were having a vote. And they do this stuff. They don't notify certain people, so they're not there to vote. And they get bills passed. It's crooked.
Right. Yeah. What they'll do, and you've seen this on the West Wing kind of play out, where they pretend like they're going to leave town, and of course every Democrat finds a way to hide out and stay in town, and all they got to do is go gavel in, basically. But the thing is, the House is controlled by Republicans, so that would throw a monkey wrench in there. But again, you're talking about after the election, of course, if Democrats
if they got to control both chambers,
Then of course they could gavel in. They could pretty much do whatever the heck they want to if Republicans already went home. And if they verified enough Republicans have went home, regardless, they would be able to do that for sure, within their rights as the majority.
Yeah, it's a dirty tactic, and it really should be criminal, but it's not. Problem it's not even goes against their policies.
Right. It's like this. You can say anything you want as a member of the House or the Senate on the floor of the House and Senate, and you cannot be held to account. You can say anything you want, and you can't be held to account. Now, there could be repercussions from your colleagues, but at the same time, you can't be tried. You can't be convicted for anything that you say on the floor, and you can't even be held for libel or slander or anything like that for sure.
But they don't anyway. I mean, they lie about each other during these campaigns. Look how they lied about Trump, and there's no accountability at all. Anybody can say anything they want to about a candidate without accountability.
Right. Right. You're absolutely correct. But they can say anything they want to mislead the American people at the same time. So they don't actually have to. They don't actually have to tell you the truth. Talk about contempt. They have contempt for you and me and everybody in this country, whether you're on the right or the left.
There are election laws. So like say when Bolduc was running, Hassan had a website. She did not divulge that was her website. She's supposed to put some sort of disclaimer on there, paid for by the Maggie Hassan, and she didn't do that. Okay, so she was violating the law. The problem is everything on the internet can be deleted. So before she got caught, before it was documented, she deleted. Once she was figured out, she got rid of it.
Right. But these regulatory agencies that control this, Federal Election Commission in that case, it's only they can only issue some sort of fine. That's about it. They can't hold her criminally, liable for anything. So
yeah, you're right. It'd be a fine.
It's just a fine and move on.
Probably
and
nothing that steep.
Right. And you can't say, oh, you can't say that she was convicted of something. I mean, it's an administrative fine. It's like, okay, whatever. Here you go. It's like a speeding ticket.
Yeah. Well, through the FEC and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like a speeding ticket, basically.
Yeah, you're right. It's no big deal. I mean, I take that back. She didn't delete it. She then put the disclaimer on, is what she did the last minute when it was discovered.
Yeah,
but now
of course. That was an oversight. No, it was an intentional oversight.
Yeah. She's playing it off like it was third party. It wasn't.
No. But that's what the left does. I mean, they're dishonest to a fault, and of course, whenever they're caught on it, they just move on, or they simply shift and say, yeah, but my opponent's this, and this, and does this. They don't ever have to atone for anything that they've ever said, anything that they've ever done. And whenever they're truly forced to do so, it's like, well, it could be worse. It could be Trump. It could be a Republican, and then of course they move on.
I think that's their downfall in this election. To be honest with you, I think they've shot themselves in the foot too many times. With their lies, with their deception, the lawfare, the attacks against people that were in the opposition to them, even to the left. If you want to look at Sinema, she was a registered Democrat, did everything exactly according to the party, but one thing: she voted against the
Right. Well, it was one. Yeah, one vote, and essentially they kicked some, essentially ran somebody out of the party that would have voted for them. Probably 7 out of 10 times they ran her out of the party. Same thing with Joe Manchin, in West Virginia. They basically ran him out of the party.
I can't think of the name. Anyway, yeah, it's a thing they do in the Senate there when they're trying to stump them.
They're getting rid of the filibuster.
Filibuster. Thank you.
Which is what they want to do.
The word pundit kept coming to mind for some reason, but yeah, she voted to keep the filibuster. She didn't vote against it, and man, they censored her, got her out of there, won't fund her. Now she's an independent because of it.
Right. You think if the Democrats are able to get rid of the filibuster and pack the Supreme Court, there's nothing that they can't get away with over the next 4 years that Republicans can ever push back on. There's nothing that they could ever do over the next 4 years to try to say, hey, that's enough. Let's put a check on that. There would be no checks in place at all, period. And then, of course, I dare say there'll be guns out blazing, at these Supreme Court justices that Trump actually nominated and got confirmed. I dare say it. We've seen him fire at Republican House members. We've seen him do it at Trump, at least one occasion, potentially almost a second occasion down at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say about all this. They're just dangerous people who don't care for this country and claim that they do.
Well, they're trying to change this country. They're trying to make it something it's not. Like you said, they have no respect for us. They have no respect for the U.S. Constitution. They have no respect for the laws. They're trying to convert us into something we're not. They're trying to make us a democracy, in the worst sort of way, into socialism. What they want socialized democracy.
They want something. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. It's not looking good for Kamala Harris, though, with Donald Trump out trolling with the garbage truck. Oh, my gosh.
I love it.
I'm still chuckling over that.
What's funny is here where I live, my garbage day is actually a Tuesday. So next on Election Day, we're going to be taking out the garbage at the White House while I'm setting my garbage out at the curb, which is kind of, I think it's kind of funny. I'm going to go out and wear my Trump mask. And I'm going to take a little selfie next to my trash can and be like, hey, taking the trash out. And, of course, taking the trash out of the White House. Here comes Donald Trump, baby.
You got a Trump mask?
I do have a Trump mask.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I was thinking about wearing it tonight and saying, hey, we got a guest on tonight. But you know what? Next week after he wins, we may have Donald Trump on. We'll see.
We may have. I'm sure
we're going to get him on my YouTube channel first.
Right. Yeah. Wait, that looks like a Halloween mask from 5 years ago. It might be, but it may be really him. Who knows? I don't know. It is.
So we've seen the October surprises, and let's talk about this one, Todd.
Sure. Yeah.
This one is one that really annoyed me so much so that I did a video production about it because, he had 3.5 years to say something. He did say something at the end of the administration, but that was gratuitous. Marine retired General John Kelly.
Yeah.
Does an interview with the New York Times and calls Donald Trump a fascist and says that Donald Trump has authoritarian tendencies and that he would rule as an authoritarian, even though we know he's been president in the past. And also goes on to talk about, he takes a quote from an interview with Maria Bartiromo on the Sunday program that she has, in which Trump is asked about what he would do basically if we had violence after the election. That's basically what it was. And he said, well, there may be necessary to call out the National Guard, maybe even the military, Now, let's be very clear about something. This is what John Kelly claims is why he had to speak out. Trump is dangerous. He'll use the military to attack Americans. I'm sorry. What did Trump do when America was on fire in 2020? Nothing. No martial law. No army called out. The National Guard in the states barely came out in any of the places in Minnesota, Washington, Oregon, DC, Illinois. Nowhere did we see this happen. Trump didn't do anything. He basically left us, to be at the whim of these violent, extreme leftists. So if anything, he was negligent, not taking care of us. And beyond that, John Kelly's very selective in his thoughts about the use of the military for domestic tranquility. Let me just run through a few events. The Whiskey Rebellion, Washington rides. The only time the commander-in-chief actually was a commander-in-chief on the battlefield, so to speak. Washington rides. What's that? What?
Madison in 1812. I think he commanded a battery briefly. I think he did in War of 1812. Briefly commanded a battery before he had to move out because the
Where? Washington Heights or Maryland Heights?
I think so. Yeah, he briefly commanded a battery. I do believe.
He left his wife behind to collect the paintings. Wow, what a wuss!
Yeah, what a guy, Madison.
What a hero.
Anyway,
whatever the case is, that Washington rode on horseback to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, to Carlisle Barracks, and assembled the army here and marched out to Western Pennsylvania to put down the Whiskey Rebellion. Okay, that was for domestic tranquility. That was use in domestic purposes. That's number one. We'll jump ahead a little bit to the 1930s when King Franklin ordered the U.S. Army to assault war veterans who had not been paid their war bonuses, who were protesting on the Mall in the 1930s. So Roosevelt called out Patton and Eisenhower, and they physically beat World War I veterans, combat veterans, with truncheons to get them off of there and arrested people. That was a use of the army, the active army, to assault Americans by a Democrat.
And then burn their personal property that was left there behind. Yeah,
exactly. And then we also have a good use of the active duty military for domestic tranquility when in 1954, after the Brown versus the Board of Education, which reversed Plessy versus Ferguson, the abomination by the Supreme Court, which legalized segregation, overturned in 1954 by the Supreme Court, President Eisenhower sent the U.S. Army, not the National Guard, because he could trust the Army, to Little Rock, Arkansas to ensure that little black school kids were safe going to school. So the military has been used for domestic purposes and for pseudo law enforcement purposes. Never mind the fact they put out forest fires in the mountain states and the Pacific Northwest. Never mind the fact that JTF 5 and JTF 6 counter drug task force have been in operations for 30 plus years, include active duty military personnel providing intelligence and other support to them. So General Kelly's outrage is selective.
Yes.
And he's dishonest. And that's why I did a video about that. Look, I mean, I heard this from a retired general this past week who said that, when I was on active duty, I didn't understand. I had issues with when people were complaining about retired generals and wading into politics. But now that I'm a retired general, I see the hazards of it, and I don't think it's wise. Well, I'm a retired colonel, not a retired general. And I would not have commented on General Kelly's comments except that he's dishonest and he's not telling the truth. And he has opened his up his fair game as a private citizen in his role, implying that his rank makes him erudite and special, and that it carries special weight. Well, it does not.
John, get back in the studio. Stop
He's out there peeling wheelies there. He's like he's on the Happy Days. So, Todd, what are your thoughts about this? I mean, I thought it was highly inappropriate and very partisan. He says, and to be clear, I'm not endorsing a candidate for either side, but your lack of endorsement and your decision to speak to the New York Times about this issue 2 weeks before an election is in fact a tacit non-endorsement of Donald Trump, which in effect is an endorsement of Kamala Harris. And shame on him. That's my thoughts. Do you disagree?
Yeah. No, I can agree with you. And I know during that time I was a staff associate at the White House, so I did a lot of advanced work. I know a lot of the people that John Kelly actually got rid of because they had the ear of Trump. And of course, he didn't like that. He wanted to have the ear. He wanted to be the guy in the room, the last one in the room, next to, say, the vice president. And of course, Trump didn't give him that access because Trump's one of those guys who's kind of like, he wants to be at the hub, in the wheel, if you will. He wants to kind of be his own chief of staff. And of course, he didn't like that. He wanted to try to take over and be the gatekeeper. And of course, Trump was like, I can be my own gatekeeper. And they were at odds basically from day one. And of course, that left him out in the cold whenever it come time to replace him. So
isn't it ironic that John Kelly makes a statement that Trump values loyalty above all else? We know that. But he makes the argument saying that if you're not in the inner circle, you're gone quickly if you fall out of favor. Well, you just told us from firsthand experience that John Kelly got rid of people who were loyal to Trump because they weren't loyal to John Kelly.
Exactly.
Talk about a hypocrite.
Exactly. And I know people who were back with the campaign. Of course, once John Kelly was gone, they were right back in the White House. I know a bunch of them that were that way. And Trump has said, and I've actually been within earshot whenever he talks about, he doesn't favor loyalty, but at the same time, he's told people, and I've overheard it say, as long as you're not violating the law or the Constitution, he wants people that are loyal to him, but not people that are going to go against the Constitution or the law. To me, that just makes sense. If we can have a conversation behind closed doors, and I'm going to be loyal enough to you to not run around and spew out what you say. It's whenever you decide you want to enact something that's wrong that you talked about. Just having a discussion about it behind closed doors is just that. It's a discussion. It doesn't mean you're implementing anything. And of course, that's what people think that Trump is. If Trump's told that's unconstitutional or illegal, he's like, okay, he drops it and he moves on. And I know he's done that many times. It's in the Situation Room and other places because I've heard people talk about it. He may discuss many things behind closed doors, but it's what he goes to implement. As long as it's not unconstitutional or illegal, and whenever a court rules, he abides by it. So to me, he's not some dictator in waiting. Based on all that.
No, and we've also seen it. Trump thinking he has what he should have, privacy and the trustworthiness of the people around him, saying off-color comments about crap-hole countries like Haiti. And then we have the Democrats in the Senate running out to the camera moments later, divulging classified information because it suits their political needs. Talk about disloyalty. But folks, you're listening to the Common Sense Conservatives right here on WSMN 1590 on your AM dial, 95.3 on the FM dial every Wednesday night from 7 to 9. I heard somebody's cheering. Every Wednesday night from 7 to 9 right here on the program. You can catch us on the internet on the Truckers Independent Broadcasting Network, and you can catch also on my personal channel, the original channel at Real Chris White on YouTube. And you catch us every Wednesday night. So we're talking tonight about America's favorite garbage man, Donald John Trump, collecting the trash.
Hop in, Kamala. Yeah. But isn't it funny that her husband, was it Doug Emhoff, how he was he was supposedly the perfect husband, all this, and then the last few weeks, all of a sudden we talk about all the people that he's beat, that he's abused, and all this. Next thing you know, he's not out on the campaign trail being the perfect husband anymore. You notice that?
Well, he disappeared because he's apparently a woman beater. That's the allegation, and there's been no refutation that he never did it. Isn't that telling?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that telling? There's not been any denial that he did it. There's not been anything, and there's also nothing from the media. They're not interested in covering the story. But I'll tell you what, if Jared Kushner was beating his wife, it'd be front page news, and it would affect the Trump campaign. I guarantee it. Anyway, so
Jared Kushner, who, mind you, is Jewish, by the way, but Trump's anti-Semitic, right?
His grandkids are Jewish.
Exactly. Yeah,
Jewish.
His daughter's converted to Judaism, and of course
he's the only president who actually followed U.S. law. By the way, he's a totalitarian. Federal law told the U.S. government, which 3 presidencies ignored.
1997 it was passed. I think that's where you're going.
That's right. Clinton, Bush, and Obama all failed to move the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv. Trump made it happen. And he hates Israel. He hates Jews. These people are just sick. They just make up anything. But I'm going to predict right now, Todd. John, you know what they're going to say about this garbage truck stunt? John, you want to guess what they're going to say?
He's taking a job from a poor person or something.
Well, he's taking my job. He should be taking my job.
He's taking a job from a Haitian. That's what they're going to say.
Yeah,
that's not it.
Right.
No. If you look at the garbage truck, there's one thing that stands out immediately. It's a white supremacist garbage truck.
Oh wow! because it was white. Yeah,
because it was white. Yeah, so it's white supremacist, obviously.
Which most garbage truck, because white paint is the cheapest paint.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be the best ever. There were good people on every side.
Right. Yeah.
Some of the people collecting the trash were good. Some of the people collecting the trash were bad. But basically, there are good people on both sides. Oh my gosh! Did you hear what he said about white supremacist trash collectors?
And then whenever that fails, what they're going to say is, Donald Trump, did he separate from the recycles from did he separate? He didn't separate. He doesn't recycle. Oh my God. That's going to be the next thing.
Did you see he was driving that? He's even licensed for that vehicle.
Oh yeah. You're going to have to pull the license.
Wait a minute. Was he driving it?
No, he wasn't.
I didn't think so.
No, it was a right-hand drive. It was a British trash truck.
Oh, well, now he's putting Americans out of work. Oh my God.
Oh, that's right. He brought a British trash truck instead of a Detroit built one. Oh,
and you're calling it a truck? It's a lorry. It's a lorry.
Oh my goodness!
Come on now.
It's
a
trash
no
lorry.
PC here.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that is the ultimate trolling by Trump. That's just brilliant. I mean, I love it. And Vivek Ramaswamy out collecting trash, hanging off the back of, like the dudes hang on the back of those trash trucks.
Growing up, I thought that was probably one of the coolest jobs, because you get to hang out of a truck. And, outside as it's moving. That's kind of the coolest thing. I always thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, that's just me. I don't know. You're outside, you're free. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. You're not cooped up in an office. Still looks kind of cool. Somebody hanging off and jumps off and grab. It just looks kind of cool the way that some people do it.
Apparently, there's a documentary called "The Art of the Surge." Have you heard about that?
No, tell us.
I think that it's a video that's coming out, a documentary about the Trump campaign, and this guy's posting says, "I used to think there's no way that Trump was coming up with all his posts by himself, but in the Art of the Surge documentary proves it's all Trump. He literally controls everything to the last detail. He really is just built different." Also, there's some great typing skills right there. I would be screwed if that was me. The amount of X posts I have to delete and repost. Yeah, I have a lot of typos because now I have to wear reading glasses and I don't catch the type. Plus, Twitter corrects my stuff all the time. No, but the Art of the Surge, I'm going to have to check into this. But yeah, Trump is too cool for school, man. The guy is all over it. But this is just, boy, this. I mean, the McDonald's stunt was funny, but this trash truck, because it looks like a brand new trash truck made for Trump. like he had this planned all along. Obviously, he didn't. He just.
Well,
did
I'm
it all
pretty sure when he called up somebody like, "Hey, didn't we just get new trucks come in? Get them out there now."
Yeah, I can tell you, having worked behind the scenes on campaigns like this, they probably were on the phone as soon as that was over. Hey, let's get something at the rally. Good idea. And they probably called several, people who actually have trash trucks in a given area and said, hey, can you get something over there? And somebody's like, heck yeah, we can do that. We'll make that happen. And I'll drive it myself, says the owner, I bet.
Oh my goodness. So he's riding around this trash truck in a lot. I don't know if this is a mall or where it's at, but it's just in Greenboy, Wisconsin. It is too funny. Oh my goodness. It's Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy is riding in one as well in North Carolina. Unbelievable, in a garbage truck. Yeah. So that's what we're going to see the rest of the week, man. We're all going to. Now, you know what there's going to be a shortage of now? Not toilet paper, not paper towels, but orange safety vest. Amazon's going to be sold out in the next hour.
Yeah, right. Well, tomorrow's Halloween, right? So
tomorrow is Halloween.
Everybody's going to have their kids dressed up as trash truck drivers with Trump mask on.
Yeah, if you were in the Army back in the day, you had the road guard vest. That's basically what that is. The road guard vest.
Yeah.
So that kind of funny in my book. I love it.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy for sure.
Yeah, he is. You got to give it to him for that. But I mean, look, can you guys believe that Biden actually said that last night?
Oh, I can believe it. I can believe it. And he did say it. And of course, what makes it funny is the explanation of, oh no, there was a comma. He didn't mean that. I'm like, no, there was no comma. He called us garbage. Period. That end of story. What they should have done is just not commented on it, left it alone. Trying to repair it has made it worse.
Have you ever done that? You made a mistake, you misworded something, and you just shut up because you're going to dig yourself in deeper if you try to fix it.
Yeah. I mean, there's times, sometimes it's just best to just leave it alone, and or try to shift gears to another topic. And
it's happened to me a couple of times where I looked at it and they go, "What do you mean by that?" I'm like, never mind. You walk away because you're just going to dig yourself in deeper.
Right. Yeah. Anybody who's against you or wants to be your enemy, they're always going to find something, no matter what you say, no matter how you say it. So, you know what? He probably should have just left it alone. He said it, move on. But I think he did it as kind of his version of a basket of deplorables. And at the same time, he's probably going to do this once or twice more between next Tuesday because he wants to truly, I think, upset Kamala because he is pissed off that he was pushed out. I think that's what he might do.
Man, oh man, look, this is just getting worse for Kamala Harris. We got Navajos for Trump, hundreds of Navajo Indians out for Trump. And somebody posted, they said Navajos for Trump and Renaho for Kamala.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. It's getting spicy up in here.
I've been hearing there's Arabs for Trump in Michigan now, Pakistanis or whatever, with how things the Biden administration handled this Hamas and Israel and stuff. They're just irate about it, man. They're like, we'll take Trump.
Right. But real quick, and I know I haven't asked you this time, but you've seen Israel, ramp up their attacks, if you will. What is your assessment kind of on the situation there that Israel's facing based on stuff that's happened between last show?
Well, Israel finally did their initial attack back against Iran, and the UN Security Council was holding an emergency meeting, and the representative for one of the Arab countries was complaining that it was for Iran. Iran wanted to do a Security Council, and it was, the people who started this conflict, and said that, Israel is dangerous and they should be sanctioned. They should be kicked out of the UN. Wait a second. You launched missiles at Israeli civilian targets last month. Yeah, that's why they're responding. And there was no UN Security Council emergency meeting to sanction Iran for its criminal acts. There's no state of war declared between them. They committed acts of aggression and warfare. They committed crimes against humanity by targeting civilian locations across Israel with missiles in a state they're not even engaged in war with. So Israel is, they've got a plan here, and looks like a pretty solid plan. They are taking them down one by one. They've destroyed Hamas. It's not gone yet, but they've also come under attack from Hezbollah, and now they've Hezbollah between the beepers and the brick radios. I don't even laugh. It's pretty horrible. People die, but what a brilliant operation. That has got to be the most sophisticated intelligence and operational mission in this century. It's unbelievable, man. People are busy with drones and stealth fighters and, strategic bombers, and Israel is blowing up 1990 cell phones with devices that they planted in them. So they've dismantled Hezbollah's leadership, and they've destroyed it as a fighting force for the time being. Doesn't mean it's gone. And now they're taking out the Houthis and Iran. So, one at a time, and they'll just keep taking them down. Israel is doing what Israel has to do. It's the only democratic state in the region. It's a multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-religious society with Christians, Jews, Muslims, brown, white, black people. And that's the truth about Israel. It's an incredible country. I lived there for a little bit in the early 1990s after the Gulf War, and I can speak to just how amazing Israel is. But its neighbors and the media want to attack Israel. It's funny because growing up, Israel was always the underdog, and the media were always in love with Israel, and Jewish America was always in love with Israel.
Right.
Until 1982, when the Israelis invaded Lebanon because of the Bekaa Valley and the attacks in northern Israel. So they responded by doing an offensive into Lebanon. And suddenly they were the bully. And ever since 1982, the left hates Israel. There you go.
Interesting assessment. Absolutely. And so, I know I brought up this question last week, and I know the polls since then has shifted a little bit more towards Trump in some of these areas. At what point next Tuesday do we get election results? Is it that night, early the next morning, or a day or two? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we'll have results that night. I mean, at 7 p.m., CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, ABC, CBS will call Connecticut for Kamala Harris, Massachusetts for Kamala Harris, Rhode Island for Matt, and I don't know if they'll call New York that quick, but they'll call pretty quickly after that. They'll then call South Carolina and Arkansas and Mississippi and Alabama for Trump. And that's how they'll play it out. So the question then becomes, when do we get the results in the 7 battleground states? Well, Pennsylvania is all dorked up, as we can see. So I don't know when you're going to get the results in Pennsylvania. What I can tell you is that I'll be broadcasting live at midnight on election night. That's after the election's over. So it's actually the 6th at 12 a.m. or 11:45. It might start just before midnight. And the reason I can't do it during election day like I did in 2020 is I'm a judge of elections, and I'm actually running a polling station. So I won't finish turning in the results and coming back from my duties until around 11:30 that night. So I will do a broadcast, and I will stay on the air for 2, maybe 3 or 4 hours, depending on what size the audience is, running through the results. We had a huge audience in 2020. I don't think that'll be the case this time because that channel's censored, but I'm going to do it for the record. And I think that we will have, I can't tell you this, I'll be able to give the results locally for where I was at because it's a matter of public record. I'm not exactly revealing anything. The results are posted on the door of the building where people vote. So I'll be sharing that and tell you the results locally, but that's just one, anecdotal example of the whole country. I think that we'll have a good idea unless the polls are accurate and it truly is as close as they claim it is. But I don't believe for a second it's that close. I don't believe for a second it's 50-50. It's on knife's edge. I think that Trump has the edge here. He's going to win 6, if not all 7 of the battleground states, unless there's been some massive lying to pollsters here. Right. And I mean, look, I can't fathom. I mean, of course, I couldn't believe people vote for Joe Biden, but, they were hoodwinked because of COVID. People fell for all the nonsense. Donald Trump's responsible for millions of deaths. Donald Trump's responsible for unemployment. None of that was true. But people are stupid and they're suckers. I mean, but you got to be a special kind of stupid to vote for Kamala Harris. I'm just saying a special kind of stupid.
You know how you know that Kamala is losing? Vice President Kamala Harris pulled a 180-degree turn on her stance on immigration, vowing to deport illegal immigrants in her campaign's closing speech on Tuesday. She was sitting there taking Trump's, as you said earlier, taking Trump's platform from him.
Right.
That's desperation.
And she pulled
just days ago, when asked what would she change, I can't think of anything. Well, apparently she can't think of something when she's pressed for it. She can adopt Trump's policies.
Well, she was probably telling you the truth. I can't think of anything, meaning she can't think of anything original.
Wow.
Exactly.
Or at all, not even original.
Right,
or at all.
Right. And her campaign pulled millions of dollars of ads, I think, out of North Carolina, because, they're chalking it up as a loss at this point.
Which is a state that just 3 days ago they thought they would take, North Carolina.
Right. And now, especially with Mark Robinson and all the issues he has there. And I don't know how that race is going to play out. Who knows? But it's kind of interesting that Trump was able to kind of basically separate himself from that altogether, which he should be able to. He may win the state, and of course they may elect a Democrat governor. Who knows? But we'll see how that plays out. But Mark Robinson's situation, I think, only hurt him briefly, and of course he's now been able to kind of create daylight between those two campaigns.
Yeah, I know that whole North Carolina thing. That guy's an idiot. I mean, you know, it's just a shame they squandered. I mean, there's already a Democrat there, which makes no sense. North Carolina is largely conservative still, but it has big pockets of leftists in the
triangle area. Yeah,
the triangle. Yeah, the research triangle area of Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, and then also Wilmington, and then state capital as well. So you know, it's. But I mean, most of the state. You know, the one problem with North Carolina that I mentioned when this happened with Helene is we don't know the answer. How many people in Western North Carolina are going to be able to vote?
Well, I was listening to some local news here, some local talk radio, and apparently the early voting totals are actually almost on par or slightly above 2020. And that was, you know, obviously there was no hurricane then. So people are being able to vote in those areas, which is good. And of course, it's tending toward Trump in larger numbers than they did in 2020 and 2016, apparently.
Well, when over a week ago, when they opened up the early voting out there, 76 of the 80 polling stations that were available for early voting in the devastated locations were able to reopen because of the heroic efforts of county election officials and workers and volunteers who didn't die or hadn't been displaced. So that was a really good sign. I don't know if they got the other 4 up. I imagine they probably have by now or come up with alternate locations and maybe came with alternate teams. But I have to say that North Carolina is really putting his best foot forward, trying to make sure that people get a chance to vote. But still, I mean, you know what? I mean, when you saw the devastation initially, you have to wonder if people would even be able to vote at all. I mean, people are buried under rubble, dead. You know, I still can't account for a lot of people. They're still finding bodies and it's what happened in Western North Carolina is truly horrific. But what was even worse was the lack of response from the Biden regime and Harris, who didn't show up for 8 days after the fact. At least George Bush flew over Katrina the day after, you know?
Right.
The FMCSA never put out an exemption for disaster relief until October 24th.
Yeah.
Like a month later, they put out an exemption for truckers to be able to move freight more efficiently. This is ridiculous. That should have been immediately.
Right. Well, I will say some kudos to some highway workers, if you will, TDOT, Tennessee Department of Transportation, and others who got I-26, which goes through Unicoi County, open, I think late today, which they were suspecting it was going to be next year at some point. So they got it open today, which is great heroic work for those folks. So you'll be able to go to Asheville, North Carolina, and other places between Tennessee versus going all the way around, which is kind of interesting, which is great. So that happened today. Yeah.
Well, you got to feel for people in West North Carolina. I mean, it's like living in East Tennessee. You kind of expect that you're mostly out of the way of natural disasters. You're not really in a big earthquake zone. You shouldn't be in the path of hurricanes. It's not tornado country. You know, so I mean, you know, you don't expect to be hit by this sort of thing. It's just this was just brutal. Nate, you know, that's why when we hear this nonsense with the climate zealots about how we're controlling the world with our actions. Yeah. I mean, look, that's hubris. Humans do have an impact on the environment, but let's get real here. I mean, Mother Nature can rear its head in a way that we have no control over. No control
exactly. We're not influenced by carbon dioxide, like they say. You know, there may be particulates, right? You burn off diesel, you burn off gasoline and stuff, you have particulates. We have systems in place to capture that or rid of that. So I mean, and that's environmental. It's not influencing weather by any means.
I would have to disagree in the following fashion, John. Every time Kamala Harris opens her mouth, she steals oxygen from starving children in Africa.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt. She is a waste of oxygen.
Well, yeah. Speaking of Kamala, and it kind of goes with the question I had earlier, you know, about election results. But does she concede if she loses? Does she concede that night, or how many days do we get a concession speech? How many days do we have to wait for a concession speech from Kamala?
I think if it's even remotely close, the Democrats are not going to concede. And when I say close, I'm not talking about the Electoral College. I still think it's going to Electoral College landslide for Trump. But what I'm saying is that if it's like Trump wins Pennsylvania by 40,000 votes, he wins Georgia by 10,000 votes, they are going to go mad. And they're going to forget that they called us deniers, election deniers.
Right. Oh, of course. It's convenient.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. But that's exactly what will happen here. Look, it's going to be an ugly 4 years from a lawfare standpoint, but this country needs to be saved.
Yeah. If lawfare is going to happen anyway, it doesn't matter. It's the left. Everything they do involves lawfare. Yeah, what are you hearing there, Chris? What are you doing, Chris?
It's like somebody's banging tables or plates around or something. I don't know what that is.
This
Todd's
one's
up to
not
something
me.
again.
I'm the chair
No,
guy. I'm the
nobody's
chair guy.
Yeah,
Todd
no.
is always, feigning ignorance here. He's got the gremlins in the background.
In
moving
all
stuff around.
honesty, I thought I saw Todd playing with his camera, but
No, well, that's
I don't think that would-
me. That's me pressing the mute button or whatever, or
yeah,
you know,
I
microphone
mean,
button.
but it wouldn't sound like plates banging around.
No plates banging around here.
I think it's Chris. I think he's trying to set us up.
No, I think something's going on. Yeah,
The
he's
only
got a
thing,
mara-
the only thing
he's
happens
playing
here,
maracas or something. I don't
when
know.
I shake my head, my beard gets caught in the microphone grill.
So, did you guys hear about the two women on the British Airlines fight?
Oh, I just
one
caught
was wearing-
Todd. He was looking at the guilty party, going, "Knock it off!" with his eyes.
No, my hands are.
No, I saw your eyes, buddy. I saw your eyes.
No.
Anyway, we're gonna have to cough up some money so we can afford a proper studio for Todd.
Proper studio. All right,
Yeah, he needs a microphone.
I mean, first off, I mean, his 9600 baud dial-up modem fails him all too often.
Yeah, well, that's going to change. It's coming up. I've got some time.
He's
down.
waiting for Christmas. He's going to get presents,
Yeah, no, I've got downtime in November and December, and I'm going to work on that and make sure we're squared away for sure.
I'll tell you, Todd, if you work on your tan, I'll give you $25,000 credit for your home and $1 million loan for your business.
This sounds like a scam, but let me sign up.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Anyway, well, can you believe here we are just days away from 2024 election. It's just less than a week away, guys. Can you believe it, John? I mean, it's crept up on us just like that.
No, it's we've been watching it come, but yeah, it does seem like it's coming rapidly all of a sudden. It's kind of like it's been so much fun. You hate to see it. It's like, it feels like Christmas Day is coming, right? But all the buildup's going to be gone. So that day after the election, you're going to be like, wow, now what am I going to do? I was all wrapped up in this stuff.
I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be knackered. I'm going to be exhausted after so 5 a.m. until 11. That's almost an 18-hour day doing the elections. And then I'm going to do a live broadcast right afterwards to talk about what happened. I'm going to be pretty tired. Then I'm going to get a few hours sleep and get up and do it all over again because it'll be Wednesday, my broadcast, then my program with South Africa, and then right back on the radio next Wednesday. So, I'm going to be sitting here next week. You're going to be asking me questions. I'll be like, Chris, what? What's your question?
Yeah,
he's gonna be talking about what he's dreaming about.
I think at that point we'll just be doing analysis, and of course, hopefully, we'll be very joyful, to borrow a phrase. We'll be joyful that Kamala lost an election. So,
shall we declare we found a new path forward?
I will. Well, there'll be a new path forward. I'll be sitting here, kind of dozing, and you'll be asking me questions. I'm like, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense. I'll take either one.
either one. Yeah.
I might even consider Attorney General at this stage.
No, you'll sleep through the call. You'll get the call. They'll call you over. Who's this 202 number? What's this all about? Yeah, you'll sleep through
it's another spam call.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to pass along Jason Miller's phone number or something so you can put in your bid now, because I think they're working on the transition team now. They know they got it. So
the Project 2025 was collecting names of people, but to me that's just a setup so they can hunt down the enemies after the election if Trump doesn't win.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm not going to put my name on that list, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't know about putting a name on a list. I did contact them about it. I mean, they got my email address and stuff.
Ambassador to South Africa. I'm here. I'm ready.
There you go. That should be a good opening for you.
It's a political appointment. Yep.
And it would be a voice vote confirmation for South Africa. So you'd be lumped in with everybody else. So it'd be a voice vote, boom, and next thing you know, you take your post by within so many days or so many weeks after being confirmed.
Oh no, you just still have to give testimony before the Senate. You do. The ambassadors do that.
But it would essentially you'd be in and out basically. It'd be a voice vote on the floor.
You're saying you're a shoe-in, man. You're a shoe-in.
Yeah,
nothing's a shoe-in.
It's not like it would be a controversial thing, like say for SecDef, Secretary of State, or something like that. Where somebody can hold you up. They wouldn't hold up an ambassador, to South Africa.
I would prefer that I prefer the next Secretary of Defense not be a retired general. I mean, that's not exactly civilian control over the military. It needs to be a civilian, but a competent
retired. Well, what about a retired colonel? Would that be okay? That's low enough.
That's no different. That's no different. It's not really civilian control. That's why I say Secretary of State. So
sure.
Maybe even Attorney General. You don't have to be an attorney to be the Attorney General. You just got to be smart.
True. You don't have to be an attorney or a former judge to be on the Supreme Court. Go ahead.
Well, that's going to do it, folks. When we join us again next week, when you're with us, it will be the election over And will we know the answer? Maybe, maybe not. Join us next week, Wednesday, on November 6th, for the results of the presidential election. From all of us, God bless, and make sure you go vote. Cheers.